This season on Kerr Fatou.
Who is engaging them too?
No.
Fatou.
I am not at liberty to say yes or no.
Oli.
For us, every day is a new opportunity to make sure our first impressions are always our best and to see possibilities on the horizon, to make our facilities and services more accessible and find freedom all around us. With a location proximity to active markets, with a liberal air transportation policy, that daily pursuit is how we turn everyday opportunities for you. For all destination marketing support, customized packages for new existing airlines and operators, and for a highly ranked tourist destination, the Gambia Civil Aviation Authority is here to serve. We regulate air transport, operate and manage BIA technical requirements, merged with commercial considerations. We have experienced and well-trained aviation professionals to cater for your needs. For investment opportunities in building airport hotels, shopping malls, playground for children, do contact us on 4472-831, 4472-893. Gambia Civil Aviation Authority. We go beyond daily.
Stewart & Co. Solicitors, a legal excellence firm in London that can help you with all aspects of your legal work. If you are looking at immigrating to the United Kingdom, Stewart & Co. can help you to set up business, buy houses in the UK, and will deal with all your legal works from start to finish.
For all your general immigration work, we can help you with that as well. If you're applying for any form of visa, whether student visas, settlement visas, marriage visas, or a child wanting to come to the United Kingdom to settle with the family, we can help you to achieve your goals.
Stewart & Co. Solicitors, a legal excellence firm specializing in conveyancing, immigration, litigation, family law, personal injury, licensing, no win, no fee. Contact us today at www.sk-solicitors.com.
When we touch down, better broke down.
With Gamtel G-Fiber, now you can enjoy super fast internet in gigabytes. G-Fiber is affordable, stable, secured, and accessible to homes, businesses, and enterprises. With Gamtel G-Fiber, the future is speed. Gamtel, creating a brighter future in communication.
That's how she became mine and see the
Every young Gambian dreams of a university degree. He wants a good paying job after graduation, a pretty wife, and ultimately own a dream home.
What if I can't afford my desired dream home?
And that is why you need to visit Universal Properties.
We specialize in customer satisfaction. We listen to every of our clients' needs when we show the properties to our clients. Before you know it, you hear the client saying,
I like this house.
This is the room that cuts my heart.
And most of the time, they cling to the door, never to let go. Most clients want to close the deal right there. And that is why we always have their contracts in the trunk of our cars. We work at our client's pace. No haggle, no hassle.
We're waiting for you at our office in Caraba Avenue here in the Gambia.
Hello and welcome to another edition of Kerr Fatou. Actually, this is the first episode as a group because I did one with Horoja Balagay, and you were all not here. But first, we want to welcome Nima officially as part of the team. Nima, welcome to Kerr Fatou.
Thank you for welcoming me.
And Oli, what have you been doing?
2020 lañu wax Fatou. Okay, biñ jëlee break from Kerr Fatou. Along the way, I set up Damel Consult. So I've been doing a lot of event hosting for people. So that's what I've been actually concentrating on, and being a better person. So yes, so you would not see the Oli jumping and fighting with anybody, but you would see a different Oli. I will still ask the questions, Mom, but you'll see a new Oli that people will be happy about.
Damel Construction.
Mashallah.
Damel Consult, right?
Yes.
And if you're watching, you can follow her on Facebook at Damel Consult. If you're looking for someone to do voicing, advert, and even hosting, that's the girl for you. And of course, Tacy, so we have a guest. I think this is the first time he's granting an interview. Mr. Bojang, welcome to Kerr Fatou.
Thank you very much for having me. It is also my pleasure to be part of your program. Kerr Fatou has been a priority media group for us to avail ourselves to, and I'm grateful for this.
In communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, Yaibaram.
Thank you very much, Nima. Mr. Bojang on Kerr Fatou. Gap in general, Mr. Bachelet. I mean, we have tried to have him on, but this was the first one they were able to arrange for us. But Gap in general, Gambia Action Party. What's your take on GAP as a party?
When GAP first came out, I'm going to start with when Bachelet broke ties with GDC.
Yeah.
There were so many talks about why he broke apart, why he wanted to form his own political party, and he came and made some sensational statements about developing the Gambia in 90 days. And people were looking forward to that. And so when he announced that he was going to form his own political party as well, we expected, as the tradition, as the norm is in the Gambia, somebody who creates a party automatically becomes the candidate or the flag bearer. But then they promised us a surprise, and the surprise was somebody we have never heard about or have seen on the political scene. Apparently he was working in the government, so that was really kind of, how would I say, out of the norm. Why would somebody who is currently serving in government want to take responsibility of being the flag bearer of a new party? That must be very courageous. So we are looking forward to dissecting all of those nuances through the discussion.
And only, of course, when his name came up, it became a surprise. I mean, we didn't expect that, because just like Nima said, in Gambian politics, I mean, if you are the Secretary General, automatically you become the flag bearer.
It seems to be outside of the norm, but of recent as well, we have seen like parties having Congress where they're saying, not even prior to the Congress, they would say if anybody is interested to be the flag bearer, you can come and contest. So we've heard things like that coming up. So they are the one pretty much who has first come out and say, this is our Secretary General and we have a different flag bearer. But so yes, but then talks like that has been on the pipeline, even within other parties where they say.
But that has always been the norm.
Yes,
because congresses have always happened.
Yeah, but at least the fact that they've been mentioning it, because before, for me, I've never actually even heard another party say, it's not necessarily the Secretary General who becomes the flag bearer, but of late we have seen that kind of talk even coming out. But but I think Bachelet did mention even the reasons why he wasn't the flag bearer, which I wouldn't want to get into, but he did say, he went on an interview and actually gave reasons which are a bit personal to him, but he did come out and talked about them and said he cannot be, so therefore. And then that, I think, was very good of him. Word around did say, oh, well, maybe he has, definitely they believe he has interest of the country, for him to not even say, regardless of all my baggage, I would still be the flag bearer. But he said, no, I have baggage, which everyone else has, but I am going to let somebody else lead, which I think was definitely something that people should, look up to, because we hardly, again, as Nima said, everyone says, and as we've hardly seen that. We would see party leaders would fight to the end, just to ensure that they are the flag bearer. So I think what they did definitely shows our democracy, shows their love for country, and I mean, we have to applaud them for that.
Well, we'll get to know who the flag bearer is. Mr. Bojang, first and foremost, for those of us who don't know who Lamin Bojang is, who is Mr. Lamin Bojang?
Yeah, thank you, Fatou. I born and grew up in Brufut, Kombonot, West Coast region. From my Mandinka family, and I did my primary school in Brufut Primary School, and at the time it was common entrance. After passing the common entrance, I was enlisted at St. Peter's High School, and when I finished my O-levels in 1989, immediately I was enrolled at the School of Nursing and Midwifery. At the time, this was the highest learning institution in the country. And then I passed out in 1992 as an RN. And I practiced briefly at, today I think is Francis Small Teaching, RVTH. And most of my medical career I spent it at Fajikula Health Center. It was at Fajikula Health Center that I shifted my core from health to military. But even while in the military, I still was the head of the military medical service. That was the reason why I joined.
So this is your first major interview since you've been announced as the flag bearer. Right. There are so many people, we've just been discussing it briefly before we started the show, that there are so many people outside who are curious about who you are. We learned that you were a military man, you have worked in the foreign embassy, but we want to know what this transition has been, and what was your career like in the military? How have you transitioned from one stage to another stage? Just so we have a greater idea about who you are.
Yeah, exactly. When I passed out as a recruit, I was, because of my profession, the terms and conditions of armed forces also regulates that if you come into the armed forces with a profession, if you're a lawyer, pilot, or a doctor, or a nurse, immediately after you pass out, you are given a rank of a corporal. So I think a month or two later, I was promoted to a rank of corporal. I think a month or two later again, people were called to come and sit the cadet selection. That is where the officer begins his career. So we were summoned at Fajara Barracks. We are about 40 or so officers from various barracks. And again, they only need six cadets. So when we came in, there again, I was the one who came out first for that particular cadet selection. And myself and one of my colleague, your brother Kejo Ture, we were sent to Ghana. This was in 1996. And when I returned, I continued my job as the head of the medical unit. I was serving that unit all these while until 1999. Yes, 1999. We were the first batch to be redeployed to Sierra Leone. So when I went to Sierra Leone, but before I left for Sierra Leone, I actually also studied nursing because I wanted to specialize in obstetrics and gynecology. This is a passion that I had while I was training as an RN. So before I left for Sierra Leone, I had a scholarship to study at Umar Danfodio University in Nigeria. We are about 4 of us. So because I was deployed to Sierra Leone, so I missed that opportunity. So the arrangement was that when I return, I will eventually join them. But that did not happen. So along that line, something happened and my core was changed. I was moved from a medical to an infantry without any regrets as well.
Okay.
Yeah, exactly. So when that happened, they posted me to Farafene. This was where, you know, everything began as far as my career in the military was concerned. So when I went to Farafene, it was very, very difficult because when I saw the environment, I knew very well that this is going to be a huge challenge. But yes, I stood up to it. And what I did was I changed the dynamics. I changed the mindset of the soldiers that this cannot be a punishment camp. This has to be a place that we have to enjoy. We have to live here and also enjoy our career. Farafene has been a very nice place for me, and I have that place, not only the military barracks, but the Farafene as a town, you know, in my heart. So I tried to make sure that the soldiers also understand me. I did not tell them to go and I'll find them there. I lead them in everything that we did there. So we changed the barracks. We changed the structures. We tried to refurbish the accommodations. At that time, the state was very, very bad. So that is how we changed the mindset of the soldiers. And Farafene becomes a place that becomes an envy of most of the soldiers. You know, so when they moved me from Farafene, I was taken to Côte d'Ivoire. I went to Côte d'Ivoire for United Nations. I worked there for 1 year. When I came back, I went for my junior division in Nigeria. Okay. And also I was the best ally student for that particular, you know, cause. So when I came back, I'm an infantry soldier. I man a lot of responsibilities, and just to summarize it, I was before I was acted as the head of the Republican National Guards, you know, that time responsible for State Guard and Guards Battalion at the time in Bakau. In 2006, when there was that coup d'etat, I was here in the Gambia. I think I was one of the senior officers who has never known anything. In fact, I thought it was a fake. I thought it was just trying to implicate the people the way. Yeah, exactly. I only knew that it was true after the TRRC. Yeah. I was in the system, you know, but I don't believe that, you know, coup d'etats can solve this country. Yeah. So I manned that position, and when 2006, I also was a commander at Fajara Barras, you know, other senior responsibilities at the defense headquarters before I was redeployed at the State House as a commander. We tried to make sure that State House looked like a state house. You know, and people come in, they should know that they are in the State House. And we make sure that the place is green, it is clean, people will come in, dress decent, you know, not everybody just can walk in and out of like that. But then on Fridays, it will compromise, because on Fridays, you know, the doors are open and people will come to pray there during the Friday prayers. So yes, it was, I used to be very, very tough when I was at State Guard, but very, very flexible. Tough in the sense that I just want people to know, because when I was at State Guard, before I even went there, I knew that there were some problems between the personnel at the State Guard and also the rest of the members of the armed forces. One is that they allege that State Guard personnel do not compliment their seniors of other battalions, like Fajara, Yundum, or Farafene. So when I went there, I changed that kind of mindset too. How did I do that? I made them understand that we belong to the same group. And there were a lot of other things that were also happening. You know, I did not know the junglers when I was at the State Guard. You know, somebody may be surprised about this thing, because my life is, I was in there to bully people. I was only concentrating on how can I help the presidency, but equally, how can I help the people trust him? In order for me to be able to do that, I have to focus on our primary responsibility, and that is to make sure that Gambians are protected and their properties are protected. And that was how I served there. I believe that our countries should be secured, and the model, how we're going to do that, it's not an individual thing, it's a collective thing. But I have also made my own individual thing. I have dismissed soldiers because of their behavior towards soldiers. I have punished soldiers because of their behavior towards civilians. You know, those are the kind of things that I cannot compromise. Indiscipline is something that I stood by without compromise. They will tell you in the military, he used to be very, very firm, but very, very fair. When it's tough, they will come to me. And I take that to be a compliment, because I stand with them when it's difficult. And then I make sure that the job is done.
So how long were you at the State House?
I was there for 2009, 2010. You know, yeah. And I know that I will not be able to survive State Guard.
Yeah.
I knew that very well. Yeah, because it is a very difficult...
No one ever survived it that long.
That long, exactly. I know very well, because when I went there, the people that I found there, I mean, the composition of the military, you know, it's a very sensitive composition. Little things or some things that you want to do, if they are not part of it, like I remember one typical example I will give you. When I went there, I just want to make sure that soldiers don't brew attire when they are performing duties. Can you imagine the soldiers brewing attire when they are performing duties? We remember the Farafeni incident. A soldier was attacked because he was smoking and at the sentry box. So my view is that, okay, that was done that way. You know, the next time they were going to approach our soldiers or a soldier to overcome him and even attack these barracks may come in another form. Yeah. So the president will allow them so that they will keep awake. But to me, that is not the best way. I decided that they don't brew. So they went and reported me to the president that this man, soldiers are afraid of him. You have to do something about that. Yeah. You know, so just to tell you how sensitive the place is. Yeah. You know, so, but I survived it because I have a lifestyle. You know, my job is my job. I don't compromise, and you cannot sway me from what I want to do. So long as it is a good cause, you know, I will do it. Another thing that I did was, you see, if you go to Denton Bridge, it is very hard for us to understand. But Denton Bridge is what designed Banjo, the security checkpoint at Denton Bridge. Yeah. It serves no purpose there. It is only there to delay people. It is so intimidating, and it harasses people. So when I was at the State Guard, I did not know how to remove this particular checkpoint from there. Because if I said to anybody that let's remove this, they will say I'm mad or maybe I'm up to something.
Even as a civilian, I'm just about to tell you, are you crazy?
Yeah, exactly.
I mean, Banjul is just like a little island.
Yeah, exactly.
So why would you want to take that security checkpoint?
So like Banjul is an island, and what Denton Bridge does is that like you put somebody in the bottle and you close the bottle. Just attempt to go outside, for instance, and 1 a.m., 2 a.m., you want to go back to Banjo. Yeah. You see how, especially if you are a woman, you are embarrassed, you know, you are intimidated.
You ask any question.
Exactly, all type of questions. And sometimes people will call me from there to rescue them. So I feel offended to see Denton Bridge checkpoint. I don't want it there. I don't need it. We don't need it there. If, for instance, there are attempted coups and stuff like that, is the time that you're even more angry. You want your civil servants to report to work on time. What happened at Denton Bridge? When you wake up in the morning, you go there, you find a queue there. Sometimes it's up to sitting corner for whatever reason, because they're not serving the purpose. If they are serving the purpose, the coup d'etat in 38th December, they wouldn't have smuggled the weapons up to inside the State House. Where was Denton Bridge? So these are some of the things Denton Bridge should not be there. The security checkpoint at Denton Bridge should not be there. If we want to protect the Oval Office or the State Guard, let us put those measures in place. This is what is happening everywhere in the world. If you go to other, State House, you think this is not a State House. People have no business at the State House. They have no business there at all. But the Denton Bridge has created a problem. So what I did was, one day, like when the president is away, it is the commander that normally sleeps at the State House. So one evening, when the president was away, I went to home and I was coming home with a calculated thought that today I want to test my soldiers what they're going to do so a vehicle just pass them without stopping. I did that deliberately. And what I did was I came and just passed, and then the soldiers shot three rounds. I only heard pop, pop, pop. And before I even reached the bridge, I stopped and I reversed. I asked the soldier, did you fire? You mean you don't recognize your commander's car? And he said, he kept mute. So I called his commander. When he came, I said, this soldier fired at me. And I asked him, how many rounds did you fire? He said 3. So I said, okay, remove this soldier, bring it to State Guard. I'm going to punish him there, and then bring another soldier to man this place. I did that deliberately because I know that was what was going to happen. Imagine that was you.
Yeah, imagine that was a civilian.
Imagine that was a civilian.
But what was he supposed to do if somebody just...
Exactly. What was he supposed to do?
Nothing?
Not sure, though.
That means that the Gambian's life is what is at risk.
Yeah, but if security is at risk as well, what are they supposed to do? You as a military man and somebody you're guarding, Denton Bridge, and somebody just
there is no other option.
You should not do anything.
There is no other option there rather than apart from firing.
That's the option they should take, and that's the one he took.
That was what they told them that they can do. So I want to come with an option. I want to come with something. So I use myself as the guinea pig.
Okay.
Okay. So what I did was, because I know if the message should reach the president before me, it was going to sound funny, and I may be implicated. So what I did was, like normally when we usher the president in the office, I will give my briefing after the protocol. So during my briefing, I told the president that I did this, like I've just narrated, and he was reading an observer. He just put the observer down. Are you crazy? You want to kill yourself? But that was what I wanted to do. I said, okay, so you know what? You have these outriders here. He has a BMW Outriders. I said, can you give me 2 of those BMW Outriders? I want to put them at Denton Bridge. So he said, okay. All right, tell Jesus, he told me like that. Tell Jesus to give you another Outrider. You know, there were times we see a lot of these white Outriders. Some police had some and the military had some too. So I put the 3 together and I put it at Denton Bridge. I'm sure from that time to date, we've never had, if you go to Denton Bridge, take note, there are motorbikes. It used to be 3, but only 1 is there now. You know, I put that one there so that soldiers will not fire at civilians, because we are there not to intimidate or harass them, but to make sure that we protect them.
Yeah.
So me, I feel that, you know, that action of my own soldier was too much. So we have to give them another option. The option is to make sure that, you know, when the vehicle pass without stopping, they can use outrider. There is no vehicle that can overrun those outriders. You know, so they are serving the purpose that they're supposed to. So when I was moved from the State Guard, I was redeployed as the Army Commander.
Yeah.
When I was the Army Commander, you know, that was the best moment for me too. Because, yeah, I came up with a lot of stuff in the armed forces, which, alhamdulillah, today they are enjoying.
And then, of course, you were a general. You were promoted up to general level, right?
That's correct.
And then, why did you retire?
I was abruptly retired.
Okay.
You know, without prepared. That was not the moment that I was preparing to, because I was young.
Yeah.
That was my prime age, 40, 41. That was the time that, you know, I was retired, not prepared for it. Because at the time also, I embarked on, there is a belief that I had at the time. I went to the Gambia National Army, because now I am a commander of a particular, you know, service. As a commander of that particular service, I want it to become the people's army. You know, I want tradition to play a role in the functions of the armed forces. You know, I just don't want us to be typical about, because we have values here that, you know, we highly embrace, how we resolve, you know, problems, how we, you know, help each other, and those kind of stuff. So those are the things that I want to inculcate into the armed forces. And also, I believe that there is a trust. There is that trust between me and the soldiers. And I want to direct that to be able to, you know, help the regime at the time, for them to stand by the people. But then I did what I was supposed to do. When I was redeployed, you know, it was a very difficult moment for me. But I did not know Saudi Arabia. Saudi Arabia, if you tell me Makkah, then yes, with my little geography, if you tell me Makkah, then I will understand. But when they told me that you were going to Saudi Arabia, I said, okay, Saudi Arabia. They told me that the president himself selected you to go to Saudi Arabia. I did not know that Saudi Arabia is the, you know, the holy ground for the Muslims. That was a blessing for me. I did not know. And when I went to Saudi too, part of my responsibility was to help Gambian Hujjaj, which was the biggest thing that I think, you know, one would like to assist.
Saudi
I was first the deputy head of mission. I was based in Riyadh. And later on, I think I had there 15 months. Then I was promoted to a position of a consul general, responsible for Hajj and other matters. You know, that one I was in Jeddah. So I was there all this while until 2017, January.
When you moved to?
No, I returned
China or Russia?
To Gambia.
Oh,
yeah, I was here for about a few months before I was redeployed.
To
because
Russia.
when the changeover, it's an interesting story. Yeah. After the changeover, they claimed that I'm a Jola. They said I'm one of those Yaya Jammeh's general. So I also went through that kind of intimidation, that kind of harassment. You know, there's no Mandinka in this country that is more Mandinka than me. But the thing is that I have faith. My faith is that Mandinka is my tribe, not created by my parents or the Mandinkas. It's created by Allah.
Yeah.
And it is faith I have to believe that, Jola exists,
yeah.
Manjago exists, and Wolof exists.
Yeah.
So you don't direct those things towards me. I don't subscribe to those kind of things. So they said I'm a Jola, and I was recalled. People talk, hey, this is Sose from Bruford, but nobody want to listen. And when I came back, they were going to even fire me. Yeah, exactly. I went through hell, in the hands of those people.
Wow,
and I'm sure this interview, if they listen, some of them will maybe contact you to say, yes, this was said in our camp, that this gentleman, in fact, is a Jola. So when I was in Saudi Arabia also, we had played a very important role in terms of making sure that Gambian Hujajis who come to perform that important pillar of Islam, perform that duty, successfully. Because there used to be a kind of a system that was in place, which we tried to change, and today we have at least a very good Hajj package for Gambian. What we are not satisfied with it, all that we know now is very, very expensive, which is not normal. Yeah. We want to make sure that, and that is what the Gambia Action Party is going
all about. You seem to have a very, very rich career. And I would say congratulations, because almost every exam that you have taken, you came out, if not the best, one of the best.
Thank you.
So from Jeddah, you came back to Gambia,
That's
then
correct.
you went to Russia.
That's correct.
And then all of a sudden, there was a surprise announcement that you are the flag bearer for GAP, the Gambia Action Party.
Right.
Did you always have a political ambition from when you were in the army or when you were in Gambia? When did this ambition just came about? How did you come in contact with Bachili for you to be the surprise candidate? You must have some interest before you just be asked to lead a party.
A party, yeah. When I was in the college, I was the deputy student leader. And in my final year, I was the student leader, the president of the student union at the college at the time. So during that time, the National Assembly used to invite the presidents of the student unions to attend their sittings. That time it was an independence drive. I did not develop the passion to become a politician, but I just was curious at the time, I think, just to go and see what transpires in our National Assembly. But I did not take those kind of sessions, as far as I'm concerned, to compel me or to at least motivate me to become a politician. And throughout my life, politics wasn't something that I would even, because you will never see me in a political scene. Not any political party in this country will allege that I'm a member of that particular group, because my job will not allow me to associate myself with any political party. It could be maybe inside, but not outwardly. Yeah, exactly. So to answer your question, I interacted with Bachele. I have a sister. When I was in Farefenye, I honored a family as my adopted parents. They have a sister who was also living with me when I was in Saudi. I brought her there to stay with me. The husband, Bachele knew that lady, and the husband, when they accompanied Bachele to my house, because Bachele approached the guy that he wanted to register a political party. And the gentleman told him that, yeah, I have a brother, maybe it will be important or necessary for us to go and seek advice from him. So it was that journey, or it was through him that I met Bachele. The first time that they came to my house, I used to live at AU Villas, I'm sure you know. I used to live at AU Villas, and they came there and met me, we sat, we discussed. They came to seek advice from me. So, but during our interaction, after Bachele spoke, the gentleman spoke, and I was about to also give my version of what their mission was. And before I could even finish, Bachele told me, you were the one that we were looking for. You understand? That way. So I was like, looking for. He said, in fact, you're going to be our flag bearer.
This was before even the party was established?
Yeah, exactly.
Wow.
So when he told me this, I said, no, that is not possible. So I alerted my wife that, we have guests and this is what they have come to discuss with me. So after the discussion, they left. I never took them, serious. I knew that, somebody, you can say those kind of things. Politics wasn't something that, they come to drag me into, because I was already working. I was here on holidays at the time. So when they left, I I continue with my normal, life and, activities. But again, along the line, we interacted. They were supposed to do certain things and they consulted me again. But I did not, take note. I did not have that passion. I have no time for politics. To be honest with you, politics wasn't something that I totally want to disassociate myself with, but not something that I was prepared for. Even up till today, now it is. I am into it, so I will not say that I'm not ready for it. I am into it. So that way, we continue with the other interactions, and eventually the party was registered. When the party was registered, I was also told that the party was registered. I remember I came here on a holiday to go with my family to Russia. So when I came in here, I met this family and also Bachile. And we did not discuss anything about me per se being the flag bearer. But generally, like if you have an ambition and you want still people to be around you to make sure that that ambition is achieved or fulfilled. So through that way, we discuss generally. But then I knew that Bachile has something in mind. He will not tell me that what I said to you the other time I meant it, but I knew that maybe he was going to do something, because Bachile is a very fine gentleman, honestly, and he loves this country. And he went extra mile on even off his way to make sure that this party is registered. So he met us, some of us on the way, and we assisted each other to make sure the party is registered. But all that time, even the first day that we sat, there wasn't a time that he said he was going to be the flag bearer. All that he was saying at the time was he was the party leader and the secretary general, and he's looking for a presidential candidate come that time. So, but I knew very well, because when they left, I also made some inquiries just to find out who is he, how far have they gone, and stuff like that. So I realized that the gentleman had done a very good job. In fact, to the time that I met him, he had done almost 60% of the process of establishing a political party. So it was a very easy for us to move from where we met. So when I came here and I left, it was when I left that I was told that they sat as an executive and they nominated me as the flag bearer, and that was a joke, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like, no, but this is not something that is possible, because at the time I also had some desires. I wanted to do something, not politics. So that was, if I am to accept this nomination, it is going to stop completely me from concentrating on that particular thing that I wanted to do. So when the announcement was made, I was dumbfounded. I was surprised, I was shocked, because yeah, we discussed it. You told me yes, but if you're serious about it, tell me. Finally, at the time we even had a conversation. We had time together. I remember I had a barbecue in my house. We were there together. But we did not discuss, seriously about the nomination. So when it came, I was really shocked. That night I could not sleep. I had to consult. My wife was all over, and we were like, is this something that is possible at this, present circumstances? So, but what really convinced me was my wife, who really gave me the courage. Immediately, after all those, at a very, tough time, let's give it a shot. That was what she said. Let's give it a shot. Let's give it a shot. So I sat down and, how are we going to do this? And then we consulted family members. Consulted my sisters, I consulted my brother, and while I was in consultation with them, I also consulted my close friends and family members. And I don't know how they put it. It's like yeah, exactly. So that was the adage at the time. Anybody that I spoke with will tell me Nyinya Bukasei. So that was Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, I think Thursday, we arrived at a conclusion, and I accepted the nomination. So when I accepted the nomination, you know, that wasn't enough. If I accepted this nomination and I discussed all these things, there's no way that I can stay in this system.
Yeah.
Because if I accepted the nomination, I'm going to speak against the very government that I'm serving. That will be conflict of interest. So yeah, the decision for me to quit also was discussed. Hey, you know, when I accepted this thing, I'm going to quit my job. Oh, of course. So automatic. I accepted the nomination. The following day, I quit, you know, on the 4th.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is very impressive, first of all.
Yeah.
I have to commend you for the legacy that you left behind.
Thank you.
I think it's going to speak for you moving forward.
Right.
But certain things are also very funny that we need to discuss.
Right.
We know that Oli had alluded to the fact that most of the political parties that are coming up now are trying to democratize themselves. We have seen when they register, we see interim secretary general, and to suggest that in the future there's going to be Congress and it's going to be the people, members of the party, that are going to choose their own leader through a democratic means, because that is even more sustainable, and that gives confidence to the people that when they come to power, they're going to uphold democratic values. But your case was very different. It seems like we have a kingmaker who handpicked somebody, even without their consent, and say, I'm handpicking you, you are going to be the candidate. And we understand that leadership is not just about filling some position. It's sacrifice, it's service to the people. You have to have personal motivation for this. So I think for most Gambians, they're going to be like, is this serious? Why should we take these particular parties seriously, even where we're seeing somebody serving as a kingmaker, picking someone who may not necessarily be interested in becoming our leader?
Yeah.
Why should we take GAP seriously?
Exactly. Let's take GAP seriously, because we have taken a unique stand here. Our approach for our selection wasn't selected by an individual. He spotted an individual, and then it was reported to a group of people. The GAP has an executive. There is an executive that is already composed of veteran politicians and also highly educated people. You know, my nomination wasn't an individual thing. He spotted somebody and then he saw it, and it was not easy. Maybe the way I'm saying it is that easy, but the process wasn't easy, because you know, Bachila has been working with that group for a very long time, and automatically, if you have that kind of relationship with people, their hopes rest on you, and they also look up to you as their leader. So if you want to bring in somebody who is new to the group, usually you will resist some resistance, and this was what happened.
But then I think what Nima is also trying to bring here is, for example, what is common, what is democratic is going through a process, like going through a Congress. That's why you select flag bearers, that's why you select Secretary General and others. Why would just a simple executive choose you when it has not come through a Congress? You know, how would you say that was democratic?
It was democratic. Fatou, the thing is that, you know, Congress isn't to select your flag bearer at Congress. It does not conflict the rules and regulations of IEC. IEC does not stipulate any rule.
No.
The rule is this: you can sit as an executive. The internal matters of the party is not regulated by IEC.
No.
IEC has their own rules and regulations governing all political parties in this country.
Yeah.
And then when you are selecting, when you're doing anything within the party level, you make sure that it follows those democratic principles. And this was exactly what we did. It wasn't, we're not going to wait for Congress. You can nominate. This is just a trend that we know. But it does not necessarily mean that that is the only way that we can. We have made inquiries. We have contacted people
it
who...
seems like you know about the process even before you were nominated.
Exactly. No. We knew all these things.
No, I mean, you seem
before,
like...
after.
Oh, after, okay.
Because I challenged that.
Oh, okay, great.
I challenged that because I am waiting for this time. And that is why today I can proudly say that we don't have to put much emphasis on the process. Remember, the process has to be democratic, but the product is what is important. You understand? If you want to put emphasis on, hey, let us make sure that, because Barrow came through a democratic process, but what is the product? We have this problem in the country. Okay, I don't want to mention a particular party, but if a particular party A does it this way or did it this way, doesn't necessarily mean that all political parties have to do it that way. No, that is not it. To go to Congress is at the prerogative. That is
IEC's requirement. You can go to Congress and party and leave. You can go to Congress and talk about your political party, your party's affairs. You can go to Congress and discuss about other stuff. So people incorporate the selection of the flag bearer, but it does not necessarily mean that it is only at Congress that you have to select a flag bearer. Yeah. You can select a flag bearer at any level. It does not matter.
We understand that.
We understand as the process is democratic. Yeah.
So ours also was scrutinized through the democratic principles. If we put it to any of the tests, it fulfills, it satisfies it.
So for me is, what did it take to accept this nomination? Here is a party that just came on, and your party leader, the first thing he said, I'm going to change this country in 90 days. And realistically, everybody knows that it's not possible, right? So people did not, honestly, people did not take them seriously. And secondly, with all due respect to Mr. Bachelet, I know him, he's a great guy, but there were some issues that were coming up in the media against him. And because he's the Secretary General of the party, it started affecting the party, credibility-wise.
Fatou, the motivation was this. Like what you've said, Bachelet, the dented image has nothing to do with the party. These were issues that we discussed in detail. Yeah. And what I'm telling you is our side, okay? People will have their own rights to have any kind of perception about the whole thing. But what I'm telling you is our side and is our position. What I'm telling you is that Bachelet's image is not dented. Bachelet, like anybody other businessman. And then he stood outright to tell people that, yes, I owe somebody, but as an individual, not the party. Yes, if you are in the Gambia Action Party and it happens that you were indulged in some other activities that will follow you to even cause problem for the party, of course we will caution you. And this was what we did. We sat as a team and we just want to know what is the genesis of all these things that is, coming into the media domain. So what we knew very well, and that is what we believe in, is that Bachelet has nothing, his activities with those people has nothing to do with Gambia Action Party. It was a private matter, and we also knew at some point that this is politics. Yeah. And if you talk about dirty politics, this is also part of dirty politics. There are some people who are using the lady, to press the buttons just to make life inconvenient for Bachelet. Today, are you hearing anything? No, because these are some of the things they just want to dent the image of the party. So, but the thing is that Bachelet is a businessman.
What about the 90 days, though?
Exactly. The 90 days thing is taken out of context. In reality, there is nobody who can transform this country in 90 days. Yeah. But Bachelet said this, referring to a particular sector. Our understanding and Bachelet's understanding about this whole thing is not changing the whole Gambia in 90 days. But Fatou, in the West or in America, countries are assessed after 100 days in office. Yeah. The president is assessed, his performance is assessed after 100 days. What Bachelet was saying, changing the civil sector in 90 days. But also, metaphorically, he was referring to the issue, you have to do this thing in 1 week, and it took you 3 months to do it. Oh, you are wasting your time here. If you give me this thing, I can do it in few hours. That kind of language. But it was like, now they are comparing it. Now they are comparing it with what somebody said in the past. Let us make sure that nobody talked about 3 years. If anybody talk about 3 years, I will take you to court. So now they're trying to compare the two. And this cannot be compared. Bachelet was referring to, it was out of ambition. It was out of the desire to move this country forward. It was not like we are standing in front of Gambian people to lie to them. We will not lie to Gambian people. Follow us, and if you will see even a member of Gambia Action Party who will stand and insult, or maybe even return an insult. We are trying to change the dynamics. We want to make sure that we have that responsible politics in the Gambia. And that as young people, we know our problems. And we will solve the problems by ourselves.
So now, you being the flag bearer for the Gambia Action Party, what are your top 4 priorities that, when you are selected into office, is what you would like?
We've been struggling. We've been struggling in this country to develop our country. if we are to be realistic, a country without a stable electricity, affordable electricity, it will be very, very difficult. But what about if you have stable and affordable electricity and you do not have a correct health system? What about if your youths cannot be employed? When we have the fresh water, River Gambia, and that is why we did not choose River Gambia just for pleasure. We chose River Gambia just to draw people's attention to it. We can feed our people energy, health, the youth empowerment, and agriculture. How do we do this thing?
How about education?
That is, if you look at our manifesto, it's a very rich manifesto. You know, our education policy is even going to entice you so that you will not go to any other political party. And I'm sure from today, you would like to even join our political party. You know, our education system in this country is wasteful. How many students are going to graduate from schools probably next year? Nearly 200 to 400,000 students. Where are they going to go? Those who are lucky will go to maybe Quantum Net or maybe Jollof Tutors. Or some of them will go to the University of the Gambia. At the University of the Gambia, what do they learn there? Gambia Action Party, what we try to do is to bring this, what we call a cluster approach to education. We want to tie development to education. It's going to take time, but this is the answer, this is the solution. NAWEC needs engineers. Our roads need to be constructed. We need skyscrapers. We need good health practitioners. How do we do this thing? We just train people for nothing. At the end of the day, you allow a carpenter to become a permanent secretary. Our education will be tied to our needs. Education will be tied to our needs. This is how we're going to move this country forward. Let us imagine that, like, for instance, if you go, have you been to Sapo before? Or you go to Jahal Pacha?
Sapo, yeah.
If you go there, you
She's never gone to
yeah, exactly.
So
no, try and do that. Then you will come home cry with a very heavy heart, because then you will know how wasteful we are. You know, honestly, we can be that dream of Vision 2016 was realizable. 2016 was realizable, but came at the wrong time. Okay. If you want to employ young people in this country, I just want to waste your time a little by giving an example of Paul Kagame. Paul Kagame of Rwanda. Paul Kagame was a military officer. They were the one who installed Museveni in Uganda. And they fought with the guerrillas. When he returned to Uganda, he went with the remnants of guerrillas to Uganda, to Rwanda. When they went there, he did not use any magical formula to develop Rwanda where they are today. He believed in his own people. He invested in his own people. Plus the remnant guerrillas that he went with, he led them to develop Rwanda to the point that they are today. Rwanda today is the one that is model in Africa to be the most democratic. But if you go to Rwanda today, you ask some people, they will tell you this man is a dictator.
Yes.
Yeah, because he should have even stepped down after two terms anyways, regardless of the work he's doing. Somebody else needs to continue. For
me to be diplomatic about this statement, I would say that in the Gambia, many things are not in order. And it starts with leadership. Our biggest problem in this country for the past decades or past 54 years has been leadership. We have very bad leaders. We have leaders without any foresight. Let me tell you, like, for instance, our youths that are...
I want to come in before you go. You mentioned something very important, tying our education to development, to our needs. Very fine idea, great, because that is what we need.
But I can only agree with you on that.
Yes.
But it's always the how questions that
that's what I was going to say.
That we look at our institutions, for instance. I'm telling you, it's about leadership. I will want to answer that question, but also, want to buttress with what you have just said. The how is what is the problem. The how, and if you look at our country today, GTTI, University of the Gambia, these are institutions that have been there. The product that they are producing today, who are the people? Who are they? What are they producing? At the end of the day, what do they do? We cannot feel it, right?
I'm a product of UTG.
No, UTG. What I'm saying is that you probably would have loved to be somewhere else. I mean, you would have loved to be maybe running your own farm or maybe running your own institution. That is what we want. The young people. If you look at around us, the how, let me not sway from the how. Let me answer that one first. Is it, we should be able to, we have this issue of borrowing money for our development. We have to put a stop somewhere. Okay? If I take money from you to fulfill my ambition, it does not necessarily mean that every time that I need money, I have to come to you. When I borrow money from you, I must put it in a use that will be able to, help me to continue my life it should be able to improve my life. Now, what is the problem in this country today is misplaced priorities. Okay? A typical example is we borrow money from donors or our development partners, and then we put it in a place that will even compound the poverty of this country. A typical example is, that is the how. The typical example is the factory at Sanyang and in Gunjur that was contracted to a particular company. Okay?
Is it the Chinese?
I guess so. I think so. Now, this is the country that we say 60% of the population, 60% are youth, young people.
Yeah.
Okay? We are saying that why didn't you tell the Chinese or the Americans or the English people to build a factory of that nature where we will have our young people working in that particular factory. It will be owned by our own people. And then we have fishing trawler, buy maybe 10 or 15 fishing trawlers, where we'll catch our fishes from our own water, that is littered with all type of fishes, bring them into the factory. Maybe 1,000 youth will work there, and then we'll bring to the factory, and then we'll eat some, and the rest will export.
But then the government will also tell you, I can come in there though, the government will tell you, they give this license to these boat owners. They have all these, they're creating employment, but us Gambians don't want to do this kind of job.
No.
The people you have in those boats are Senegalese.
No, Fatou,
that's the fact.
No, that is where the problem lies. Who was?
Because you cannot force me to go and work in a boat if I don't want to.
But that is not the way you empower people.
How do you do it?
Yeah, exactly. We have ministries here.
Yeah.
Our ministries, these are institutions, because you asked me what are going to be the four, most priority areas. Yeah. Our institutions that are there to implement government projects, they are in themselves defaulted by their makeups or their setups. Yeah. So the best thing is to make sure that, like for instance, Ministry of Fisheries, why can't we have, we're talking about 60% of our young people, of our country, are young people. Why can't you create a particular department or a ministry that is going to be there to oversee those kind of projects? Because look, if I should fish for you, and at the end of the day, you are able to get away with maybe 100,000 or 200,000 on daily basis, and you're paying me $3,000. $3,000 as a young person. Maybe I am married. Yeah. Maybe my kids are going to school. The thing is that we also have to replicate some of the successes that were done in other parts of the world. This was done somewhere else. And they have the young people. They invested in their young people, and they were able to do it. We can replicate the same thing, and it is going to do us good. If I am working for you, and you, at the end of the day, you are getting away maybe that kind of money, and you pay me $3,000. What is $3,000? I am responsible. Let me tell you something. The reason why young people are not able to indulge in those, they cannot. You cannot.
How? Why?
Pay them money. Pay them money. Okay? Because the thing is that if you should pay me $3,000, at the end of the day, if I buy a bag of rice for my mom,
I'm confused though. Who is the employer in this case?
In this case, the government.
No, government
is the one creating state enterprises and employing.
No, government is not the employer for this.
No.
Government, he's saying government to be the employer.
Government to be the employer in this case. You see, this is
government cannot be the government in anywhere in the world. Yes. Governments are not the biggest creator of employment. It's the private sector.
This is the problem.
Government create the environment for private sector-led growth.
This is
because
why
if the private sector, how many of us
want to do it differently?
No.
How many of us want to get a government job?
No.
That's why he's saying
jobs are not lucrative, though.
Yeah, that's why he's saying they pay.
It is, Fatou, this economy is not private sector led. Tell me the assets of the private sector. Can they employ the 60% of our young people?
But it's the biggest employer right now in this country. The private sector is the leading employer in this country. Government is not.
That is what is compounding our problem.
Government is not.
Government is supposed to create.
It's supposed to. But what I'm saying, when it comes to statistics, government is not the biggest. Employer in the Gambia.
In the Gambia.
Yes, that's what I'm saying.
We have to deviate. We have to graduate from that system.
Economy.
No, we have to graduate from that system. The thing is this. Why we are stagnated as far as development is concerned is because we want to bring in economic models that cannot work for us.
But what is going to be your economic model?
This is self-reliance. We have to make sure that we look inward, because the resources are there, the assets are there. Is this the willpower that is missing? And that is the leadership crisis that we have. What I'm saying here is that, you know, if you go to other countries, that's what they do. You know, for instance, let me just learn and you look at this.
Yeah.
For instance, this fisheries thing that I'm talking about.
Yeah.
If the private sector is the highest employer of people in this country,
yeah,
why can't you partner with them? Why can't you bring them on board for you to be able to accomplish? But that is the only way that we will be able to, you know, reduce the unemployment rate in this country. If you want to wait for the private sector that has a very little asset, the biggest employer in this country are the security forces. And then do we all want to become security officers? No. So the problem is this. Let's go into agriculture. Like, for instance, Sapo that I mentioned and Jahal Pachar. If you go there, you will see until the Icon. The arable lands in this country is over 528,000 hectares. Not all of them at one place, but Sapo and Jahal Pachar, these places are one of them. Now, we are importing rice, in the tunes of millions, okay, annually. Why can't we produce? I attended a meeting with a particular minister of trade in this country. We went to this meeting, and during his interventions, he mentioned that Gambia is in need of rice. If there are anybody in the audience and wants to help Gambia with rice, supply of rice to the Gambia, let them come forward. I swear that was the end of the meeting. Everybody some people from Uganda, from Sierra Leone, from Guinea, they all say that they have more than what they need, rice, in Africa. You understand? So the challenge here is this. Where is the will? Allah has given us River Gambia. It's a fresh water. It wrote how many nautical miles? We can use it 24/7, year-round, for us to be able to, you know what? We have to go mechanize, Fatou. This country has been stagnated. We have to go mechanize. We are the young people. Go to the village and see how young people are suffering there. It is in their wish. It is in their will. We're bluffing here that we create the enabling environment. That's what governments will tell you, that they created the enabling environment for you. What enabling environment is that? If I graduate from, for instance, from University of the Gambia, and I want to, you know, talk about business, where is the capital? I do not have. Okay? But what we are saying is that employ the young people. We are in different cadres. We are in different ranks. There are some people who have not gone to school, but they want to be employed. And this radical thinking is what Gambia Action Party has. Because we can do it. Allah has not given us all these things for us to waste it. If you go to these places that I'm talking about, and then you ask your development partners, in those days, I'm sure when we were young, we have seen Japan at this place.
Yeah.
In those days, if we had maintained, but how do we do that? Yeah. We could not maintain it. People there used to steal parts of the tractors. The people that were working there, they used to steal part of the tractors and cross the border to go and sell it into a neighboring country.
Is that us or government? That's the human being.
Individuals. If we employ 2,000 young people into agriculture, we put it under a particular department, a particular institution, and then we purposely for them to take care of those people. You know, we have a very friendly and a very lucrative, you know, agriculture policies in this country. Why can't we bring in equipment, train our young people for them to be able to produce what we want? Now, if you're going to do this thing and you give them $3,000 or $4,000, you think they can do that? They cannot do it. In that case, what you need to do is that you employ them, give them money that will be able to sustain them, for them to be able to concentrate and also to deter them from stealing parts. Because this is what is our problem. GPMB, GPTC, PWD, all of them disappear in thin air is simply because of management.
Okay, so
and this is what we want us to.
I just want to clarify, because so many things have been mentioned here. We were on economy, then education, then agriculture. So I just wanted to attempt to summarize what you said so that we can have clarity on what your policies are.
Thank you.
So what you said is your economic model is self-reliance, which means that the government is going to be investing in the productive sector by providing for state enterprises and employing the youth, paying them huge amount of money.
Exactly.
That's what you're saying?
That's what I'm saying.
And you think this is going to work? Because this hasn't worked after independence. After independence, this is what we have in most African countries, where the governments or the state were the biggest employers. We have a very strict private sector. And it was through the IMF and the World Bank intervention that we had to open up the space for private sector investment. So if it hadn't worked, then what makes you think it's going to work now?
It is going to work now because we have the needs. The needs are there. Okay, give them a lot of money. The governments, if you look at the countries that are moving, we at Gambia Action Party, we want to create a future for the young people who will be connected, self-reliant, and creative, innovative. Okay, and the only way that we can do that is the government that has to lead, not the private sector. We completely disassociated with that notion, with that belief that the private sector, it is a private sector-led economy. The private sector is going to work with the government. Okay, hey, we know about the communist states. The communist state today, in terms of development, it is in tandem with the West or in America. Well, the communists, if they knew very well that if they stick to that communist principles, where you will be rationed, where everything will be provided by the state. If they were going to stick to that kind of policies, they knew very well that they were not going to move forward, and their people are not going to be developed. So they incorporate other parts of capitalism and socialism into, and that's what moved them forward. Because that is the only way that we can move forward. I am not saying that we deprive the private sector from being an employer or promoting them to become the highest. It goes together. Our policy is just to make sure that we try to reduce, try to minimize the burden and try to minimize the poverty that our people are going through. And in order for us to succeed in that, government has to take the lead. You just don't create the enabling environment. And if we do that, there is no economic formula that is going to salvage us from the predicament in which we are.
Okay, so, and that comes with a risk as well, because economically, how can we afford that? You said we should limit our borrowing.
Yeah.
This country, our only source of income is taxation, and the GRA cannot even fund our current, our current budget. GRA is only making about 13 billion, and we are at 21 billion. We are only relying on donor monies. We are borrowing and borrowing and borrowing, and we are also relying on grants. In fact, that's why last year the government had to go to the National Assembly to get supplementary, because some of the money they were expecting did not come. So where do you get the resources? Where do you get resources? In as much as you want to pay people like salaries, but at the end of the day, can you afford it?
For us to be able to stop that borrowing, we have to look inward. And for us to look inward, we have to invest and believe in our own people. And to believe in our own people is to make sure that we engage them in our development ambitions. And that is what government needs to do. What we need to do, Fatou, is this. Know the magnitude of corruption in this country. Then you will be able to understand, number one. Number two, we have, I don't know, 23 or 24 missions outside. For what?
Yeah.
Embassies to do what? This is taking huge amount of money from the Gambia, spending them outside for nothing.
Yeah.
Okay?
Now
our travel expenses, because we know what we're talking about.
Yeah.
Our travel expenses. Now, you and I believe this is Gambia. Most of the time it's a rain-fed agriculture that we're depending on today. And today, the National Assembly has passed that budget where the money that is going to be spent on the presidency or in the presidency is more than what is going to be spent in agriculture.
Yeah.
Are we serious? This is where the problems lie. So we are saying that where we're going to get money is this. Let us avoid misplaced priorities. Let us put the money where it's supposed to go in. Okay? That will, because what I'm telling you, if you go mechanized, then it's not every year that you are going to go and borrow for you to go mechanized.
Yeah.
If you go mechanized, you're serious as a government, you have to make sure that you put the structures in place to make sure that mechanization stays. And then we are not only saying mechanized, because the traditional farmers are also going to be there. They will be there throughout. But we make sure that we have policies that will be so much friendly that it will be able to accommodate the mechanized aspect of agriculture with the traditional one. But number two, where are we going to get the fund? I said let us try and curb the corruption, the magnitude of corruption in this country. But the type of corruption that is now happening now, especially from 2016 to date, is fashioned. And you have to be within for you to understand. You are talking about GRA. That is a chicken change, man. For them to tell us that they're providing 13 billion what? Do you know what is happening at that place? The tax collection? That is nothing. But understand the problem. What happens there? Look, what we are saying is this. You see, if you talk like this, sometimes people will say maybe you are suffering from brain drain because you live in the Western. Maybe that's why. But the thing is this: you see, technology is not here for fun, and it's not luxury. It is here to help us stop this kind of malpractices. You can be sitting here with $1 million in your pocket, and you're not bothering anybody, or maybe $500,000 or $1,000 or maybe $1 million is in your pocket. Nobody disturbs you. You see, in the Gambia, for instance, I'm giving you a typical example. If you're giving, for instance, 500,000 to go and buy fuel, physical cars, they give you physical cars to move it from point A to point B. What is the evidence that you have purchased 500,000 worth of fuel? That is an encouragement for corruption, 1. 2, at the end of the year, from Jawara to Barrow today, this December, what happens is this, and I want to see, I'm on camera. Maybe when I say this, they will stop it.
No.
But what I'm saying is this.
Yeah.
At the end of every December, the type of corruption that is entertained at our financial institutions is unbearable. And we have solutions to those type of problems.
What are those kind of corruption you're talking about?
Yeah, because, we have budget lines.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, ministries, operates based on their budget lines. But sometimes ministries will not exhaust the budget lines.
Yeah.
And I'm sure some of your listeners and some people who are going to watch this program will say, how do you know this thing? Because I'm in the system, that's why I know it.
Yeah.
And I know it is happening until tomorrow, So sometimes these budget lines will not be exhausted at the end of the day, at the end of the year.
Yeah.
But the usual vendors that normally they deal with
Yeah.
will come and check their LPOs and if there is a particular budget line that is not exhausted, and that is where corruption starts. So these are some of the problems that we have in this country. That is where we're going to look at to be able to fund some of these projects we're talking about. What we are saying is young people, for you to commit them in whatever you are doing, you have to make sure that you give them something that will sustain them and that will stop them from even abusing that particular thing that you have provided for them to sustain them or give them a better life. And this is but the most important thing also is about this issue of backway syndrome. How do we solve this backway syndrome? The backway syndrome is not in Europe. The backway syndrome is here. You go to Brufut, for instance, it's about how many minutes from here? At most.
Yeah.
It's just from here.
Yeah.
Go there and tell me what is in Brufut that young people can hold on to if they finish school. What is there?
Before we come into the backway,
Absolutely, yeah.
Because I believe the backway system, syndrome is not even only a Gambia issue, but it's more of a global issue because we've seen even other countries that are not in Africa and we have their youths actually trying to get into Europe. So this is beyond just youth sitting outside and not doing anything really. But
I disagree.
Okay, we'll come to the backway syndrome as I said.
Yeah.
But coming from somebody who was in the system for this long, somebody who was in the system up to the very day he accepted a nomination, that's when he resigned. So for some of the things that you are saying, did you ever at any point in time try to either sit in discussions or try to assess the situation? Because you as a diplomat, you were somewhere sitting in Russia actually being being part of the system, enjoying yourself. So up until when you were nominated, that's when you even resigned. You were not even thinking of politics. So for you, all of a sudden, you can identify all these problems. You know that this is the way to solve all these problems. So did you at any point in time sit and reflect when you were enjoying being a diplomat and say, oh, we have these issues, we have this doesn't seem to be working, like how you're telling us now, this and that, what can I do about it? And how would you assess the current government from 2016 to date?
The assessment, we will do that when we come
later.
back. So
okay, but you enjoying your diplomacy status?
I was never
Did
enjoying.
you ever?
I was
of
never
course,
enjoying my diplomacy.
You were.
I was never enjoying. How do I come to know all these things? When I was in the system, I knew all these things. there are times that you play your part and somebody else play his or her parts. And that was exactly what I did. But I wasn't somebody who was quite in the system. I was that type of person that will make sure that I say I speak my mind, and I will also make sure that whosoever is my superior, I have that consultation with him. Because my problem is, if anybody wants to take your privileged position to take that as an advantage of other people, and also want to abuse it, that is not me that can work with. So what you're saying is that even while I was in the system, I tried to make sure that I whispered sometimes, meetings where I could, to make sure that I speak out my voice. And I have done that not once, not twice. But honestly, I was not ready to stay as a diplomat. I thought I was going to be recalled. I thought I was going to be recalled in the military, because I left something there that I think I still need to continue, you know. So I was not enjoying in Moscow, and that is why it was an easy decision for me to quit. If it was just enjoyment and also to receive a fat salary, I would have
Who compares a presidential potential candidate and a diplomat? Because you're eyeing the big position, so most people would definitely quit. Because what you're eyeing, I mean, to be honest, is the biggest position, I mean, in the whole country.
Yeah,
so
I mean, but I don't think it is that easy. You know, you need to be focused. You need to be independent. You need to know what you're doing, you know, so that at least, you know, you can succeed in what you are doing. So I was in the system where my voice could be heard. I have spoken there, and I'm sure I have also contributed, because I do not condone corruption. And I said it in one of the interviews, and people captured that GAP leader said he's incorruptible. And I mean it. I am incorruptible. I cannot be corrupted. I am not rich, but that one that can sustain me as far as life is concerned, I'm contented with that. So when I'm working with you, the first thing that I want you to realize is that money isn't that is going to, you know, make us relate. I will make sure that, you know, it's job and job first. I have encountered a lot of those kind of things. So yes, when I was in the system, I tried to also make sure that I whispered where I could to make sure that some of these things are not condoned. And I did that, you know, at the best of my abilities.
So what do you think you as a person, when you become President Bojang, what will you do to help our youth who are taking this journey?
Amin ya Rabbi. Fatou, this is what I mentioned this here and in my talk.
Yeah.
Believing in our own people, investing in our own people. I was giving you an analogy for you to assess what is in Bruford that is there that for the youth. Okay?
Yeah, basically nothing.
Nothing.
Yeah.
Nothing is there. If you go to Lamin, the same thing.
If you go to Lamin, yeah.
If you go to Willie, the same thing. If you go to Koina, the same thing.
Yeah.
Okay? So there is that push factor from the provinces to come to Combo. And when they come to Combo, to the dreamland, and they come here and there is nothing here, that is going to you know, sustain them, or that they can hold on to.
Yeah.
So their hopes and then the dreams are shattered. So the only alternative that they have is to venture into that particular journey. No, but these are Gambians, and they belong to the Gambia.
Yeah.
And they are working, or they are people, they are the government, including those boys who normally take that kind of a journey. And then you are denying the fact that government should all do government. But I want to go back a little again.
I think they have a part to play.
Exactly. I want to go back a little bit again. Today, if you go to Rwanda, they are providing smartphone.
Yeah.
They manufacture a smartphone. Young people, you know, 1,000 parts are all produced locally in Rwanda itself. Did they have a formula from divine intervention? No. It was all created there. So our biggest problem here, that is the betraying, that is the primary cause of all these problems of the young people, is the leadership. Like it or dislike it, that is the number one problem. It is the art of influencing people to do things, even if it is against their will. And one of the most important things is integrity. And leaders, our people here, they compromise that. So our young people have given up. When I was nominated, there are some people who call me from the diaspora. They call me and say, hey, we have given up on Gambia completely. But we are rejuvenated, the fact that you are in the scene now. A lot of people have spoken to me, and this was what they used to tell me. We know that if we are given the chance, you'll be able to. You'll be able to do this, you'll be able to do that. Fatou, let us believe in our young people.
Yeah.
Let us invest in our young people. You know, we should be able to produce. Now, because I want to tie this into climate change, because I'm very much concerned about the kind of weather that we have today. Gambia is a small country, and I don't think we have those factories, or we have the factories that are also contributing into climate change, okay? But effects are realities. Climate change is a reality.
Yeah.
We are suffering from the effects, okay? Now, if you don't believe in change, but you know very well you are living the effects of it, how are we dealing as a country with the effect of climate change? As a country, how are we dealing with it? We do not have a stable electricity.
Mm.
You know, it's luxury for us to have air conditioning in our rooms.
Yeah.
In Saudi Arabia, it's not a luxury anymore, because even in your kitchen, you have to have an air condition. Otherwise, you will not be able to cook in your kitchen. So this is a problem. To them, air condition is not luxury. You cannot judge somebody's wealth by the mere fact that he has an air condition in his room. And the Gambia, we are at that stage. If we are able to negotiate for us to have a farm for ICT farm in this country, that will lead to manufacturing. Like I'm coming back to education, because this is what is going to move our country forward. Mm. We want to make sure that we produce drones to be able to police our borders, or even police other places. Countries like Saudi Arabia, today they are producing their own air condition, because they feel that air condition is a problem. Their country is hot, over 50 degrees centigrade sometimes. In the Gambia here, why can't we negotiate with our development partners for us to be able to have that's what Rwanda did. They stopped borrowing because they have the farm now. And the farm is there. Information technology is the answer for our age. This 21st century, if you were to move your country from point A to B, information technology is the answer to those problems. Imagine that we have built one in Willi or in Basse. You will train young people, ICT, for them to be able to go into those kind of institutions, for them to be able to produce some of these things that I am talking about. They will be able to produce drone, they will be able to produce air condition, and many other implements that we will use in the country. The problem is the willpower, 1, 2. We do not believe in our own people. And that is why young people today, they have given up on the leadership. Look, if our president is paid $300,000, for instance, if he's paid $300,000 every month, the minister is paid $50,000, for instance, the parity, the difference is too much, okay? And what we are saying here is that, what about the young people who you want to, work for you and produce for you and make his life better? How are you going to pay that person? $3,000, $4,000, and you want him to commit his whole life for you? That is not possible. When we are serious about the development of this country, we have to believe in our young people. We have to believe in our people. We have to make sure that we invest in our own people. This is the reality, and this is the formula that we can move forward. Our young people who are going the back way, I remember I watched, this was a few weeks ago, there was a gentleman who I watched, maybe your channel or somebody else's channel, and a guy came from Germany, and he started to telling us, during the program, he narrated some of the problems that these boys are going through. Now, before giving the Gambia government maybe 50 million or 11 million euros for them to give us to the returnees, why can't you build us a carpentry workshop, welding workshop, or a mason where we can train our young people? Why can't you build those schools for us here where we can teach our people German, we can teach them Italian, Spanish, and those kind of. Why can't we now understand that our young people want to speak German? Why can't we include it in our curriculum? They want to speak Spanish. Why can't we include it in our curriculum? They want to speak French. Why can't we make it a mandatory thing now? We don't want to do this thing because we don't believe in our own. We believe in somebody else. So the young people, as a result, they have given up on the leadership. So they feel that they are on their own. No, it is difficult for them to go to take the back way. All of us are responsible, yes, but let government understand that the young people form majority in this country. They have to believe them, they have to trust them, they have to invest in them, because they have the ability for them to innovate, because they are creative. And this is what is going to move this country forward.
I do actually agree with you when you talk about believing in our people. That I agree. People have to believe in that. We have to believe in ourselves even first, and the government have to believe in us, especially young people. That I agree. But I just want to understand that all these things you're talking about, it must be long term. Because the short-term problems we have in Gambia, we need skills. People are not skillful. So before we build a drone, before we can manufacture an air conditioner, I think we need to improve the skills of our young people. Once we improve their skills, then we can look at the bigger picture. So the GAP party, I'm still trying to struggle to understand what, because now with the new constitution that's coming in, we all believe that we would have only 2-term presidents. So if GAP happened to win, they would be here for 10 years. So what are your immediate short-term issues that you would sort out? Because you keep talking about money, money, money as well. We need to even have the money first to pay these huge salaries you're talking about. Yes, people need to be paid. Yes, when people work, people need to be. That's the reason why most people are even going into the private sector, because they're paying better. But for me, I think it's about developing people with skills, improving our education system. So you've talked about learning German, learning Spanish. They could be examples. But before I learn German and Spanish, I need to improve my English first. We are struggling with people speaking basic English. So for me, I think the first issue and priority, health, yes, but education and improving our skills and our young people as well, believing in ourselves, because I said it, the issue of the back way, Fatou has said it. Government has a responsibility, but we all equally have a responsibility. And it's not only the people sitting who are doing nothing who are going to the back way. We have people who have jobs, who have potentials. We have people who have skills, they're still taking the back way. So it's a collective responsibility that we all should say, yes, let's try to fix it. Government, of course, have the upper hand. But for me, I'm just trying to understand what are your short-term, immediate goals that you will address the problems we have in Gambia than the long-term, bigger goal, which is the solution, yes, of course. But we need to fix the problem now before we look at what's going to happen in 10, 20 years.
If we are able to fix the erratic electricity supply in this country, the immediate problem that we want to solve in this country is the erratic electricity supply. Not only is it going to be consistent, or not only is it going to be there, fixed, but we also want to make it affordable. I am talking about this, our immediate problems is health and energy. These are going to go simultaneously. I brought investors here to invest in health, renewable energy. And what they want to do, we did all our findings. We wanted to build this one in Kaur. And I knocked all doors in this country, but I could not go because of the policies that are there. There are 1,001 people who have submitted their desire to help complement the government to increase our energy, but they have been denied. I was a typical example. I have people from Sweden, and I remember at one point I came here with investors from Saudi Arabia, and we've almost established. We're in the process of establishing the business, but in the process, as our attitude also dictates, along the line we lost those opportunities. But what we are saying is that our immediate problem is to make sure that we fixed the erratic electricity supply in this country, but also, if you fix that one, what about the health of the people? This is what is the problem today. Our biggest problem in this country is the health system. It is kaput. It has dilapidated. It is done. The number of people that trek between here and Senegal just to go to Senegal and only to go for minor investigations or treatment is unbearable. And okay, yes, Senegal and Gambia, we are, in fact, on the gap, our relationship will even be better than the current status quo. What happened is that those people that go there for those kind of investigations or examinations, we are saying that, why not, okay, I'm sorry to say this thing, but during Yaya Jammeh's time, he has built some infrastructures, including health. Like we have a hospital in Farafeni and also in Buyam. We are saying that we have to overhaul the teaching hospital in Banjul. Let us overhaul that hospital. It is a colonial hospital. The demand on that hospital is unbearable. Why not we overhaul that? We use Serekunda, Bako and other places for the meantime and then making sure that we upgrade that hospital to a hospital that can accommodate all of us and our problems. These are our priorities. The first days that we're going to sit in office, if you ask any minister, energy minister or health minister, he will tell you this is the plan that is on the table. These are the immediate, because we want to make sure that, yes, if you want to do all these things, build this or do that, what if your people are not healthy? But can you do this thing in the absence of electricity? In modern day, no way. So this is that we want to concentrate. Education, yes, of course. How can you develop a country without education? But that the system, we have 2 ministries, education, 2 ministries. For what? Why can't you have 2 ministers? Why can't you have 1 minister, 2 permanent secretaries? It is expensive. Government cannot even accommodate them in government premises. Okay? Why don't you ask me about security? These are some of the areas that we want to major in. These are
the security we will
definitely get that, because security is a big issue.
I just want to say this in your benefit. I'm sorry, I'm going to deviate from your position a little bit. I think it's problematic also when we want people to focus always on the short term. Every sector you look at, there are going to be immediate priorities.
That's correct.
But what has always been missing is that long-term vision. Where do we want to be 20 years, 50 years from now? Yeah. Because governments are always transitional.
It's a continuation.
Exactly. The state remains, the state is permanent. You come do your bit towards that longer-term vision, and you leave the gap for somebody else to come and fill. This is not a pun. Mind the gap. But exactly. So there's nothing wrong with having vision. We should nurture creativity in this country. It's what has always been missing. Our education system need to incorporate that part, that creativity part. How do we make education be about solving problems rather than getting into employment? Solving problems. We need to be able to identify what is our problem in this country and teach people to understand that their role is to learn skills to be able to solve those problems.
That's a bigger vision. That's what
I guess we're all saying.
But that's what he said earlier.
That's what we're saying.
He said their education policy will be tied to the country's needs.
That's
so
what we're talking
making too much emphasis on the money.
But then
I'm not putting any emphasis on money. I am saying I am not putting any emphasis of money. The money is not what is going to drive our government. What I'm saying is that money is not something, because somebody will tell you, okay, if we have this lucrative ambition, what is going to sponsor it? What we are saying is that we look inward. What I'm telling you is not like go and borrow money from somewhere else. But what we are saying is that let us try and make sure that we fight corruption. Let us cut the expenses on certain irresponsible spendings, and then making sure that we look inward and spend in our priority areas, like what we're talking about now. Now, our needs, for instance, education. For instance, our needs in health sector. For instance, the generators that are meant for a factory, you bring in to serve a country. That is impossible.
I just want to come back to buttress on some of the things that have been discussed here, especially the role of the government. And I know we're going to have your view on the current government. Okay. I just wanted to say that whichever way we look at this, government is always the beginning and it's the end.
Yeah.
We can say people have responsibilities, we have responsibilities, but government is just like the shepherd. You are leading the ship.
That's what we believe in.
You provide the way for everybody. If people are going through the back way today, it's because they have no hope. If you look at the category of people who go through the back way, majority of them are not highly educated, even though they may have skills. Majority of them are from the rural folks who migrate, first of all, from the rural areas to come to the urban areas with the hope that they're going to find something. And we, at the societal level, we have expectations of these people that they feel they have to fulfill. If the opportunities are not present here, they are going to go out. Migration is the oldest thing that has ever been. People are going to always go out to find opportunities for themselves. And government is always the beginning and the end to all of these problems. So we need to have a vision in that. But I don't know if it is okay for me to skip these things a little bit forward.
I want to take a commercial break here. Okay. And just 2 minutes commercial break. When we come back, we will look at, I know you want to look at other things. Yeah. So we'll take a commercial break.
In communication, connectivity is everything. We ensure that the links never sleep. Quantities and qualities, all in our data service, providing efficient, reliable voice and data service. We believe if you're not up to speed, then you're going backwards. Communications have to flow as fast as the speed of light. Whatever business you're in, having someone who understands your needs is critical. That is why we just don't offer you technology, we offer you solutions. Enjoy Gamcel's internet broadband anytime, anywhere. Your national operator, Gamcel, Yaibaram.
Are you thinking of owning your dream homes? EJ Investment is here for you. Secure our quality bungalows with 2, 3 or 4 bedrooms, or our story buildings 3 or 4 to 5 bedrooms at very affordable prices with flexible payment plans at our Sanyang Seaview Estate, where you can enjoy the cool breeze with modern infrastructure such as tar roads, covered drainage system, modern electrification with street lights, gated entrance with security posts, and social amenities such as gas station, shopping mall, medical clinic, park, schools, children daycare, and a lot more. Our dedicated team of professionals will keep the estate clean at all times, provide security and patrol team within the estate premises, install latest technologies such as CCTV, Wi-Fi, home network installation, solar panel, and power backup system. Also, check out for our additional home facilities and interior design service such as premium tiling, wall plaster, home landscape, fingerprint home lock, and a lot more. Visit our office at Senegambia Kololi Highway and get a free site visit tour, or contact us on 4464-838. WhatsApp us on 3259220. Or you can visit our Facebook page or Instagram on EJ Investments. EJ Investments, we are first in properties.
Sam pap deena déedéet daf ma yónni woon ma suyal ko déegi waaw yàlla def mu gagné jàppoon $100,000 la def
la ilaha illallah
te yow xam nga ne sama papa dafa amee cardiaque
yow da ngaa dof yow xam nga luy $100,000
am naa ko kay man naa lu ñëw bëggoon nga dimbali
demal na nga def damaa toog rek sama xel mi ne ci yow xam nga bërki démb li daal si benn waay fee waaw ma romb ko rek bërki démb waaw muy yuuxu di tëb ma ni kii lu ko dal ñu ne ma daal ci loto gaming Gambie bi la laal jar na ko laal na ci lu di
waaw nga dafa am quarté am kente am tiercé waaw maanaam nag tey jii kente bi la te jackpot bee passé xaalis
kente mooy lan
kente maanaam mooy juróomi fas yi
waaw beneen bi
am na quarté mooy ñeenti fas yi ak tiercé tey nag xaalis bi daa gën a yokk lu tax ndax jackpot bële dañ kaa tegaat ci bii maanaam juróomi fas yi boo ko jàppee ci ordre mooy risque nga désordre bi sax day fay bu ma ko jàppoon
yooyu moom noonu la demee da ngay dem rek jouer
am na lu ma yaakaar
man gis naa seen kii yi kees yu ndaw yi ci biir dëkk bi mais daal dama ni lii moom amul xaalis da nga ciy def sa xaalis
day jël wecce rek sànni ko fa xool jëmbat la la ilaha illallah yow li nga wax ni tey ji bu yàlla dogaloon ma gañe ko lu mu gàtt
fi mu toll nii boo gañe woon $100,000
waaw nu may def
waaw nooy def
xam nga yow sama xarit nga
waaw
damay fexe nga rey say noonu
ci nan
lu mu gàtt $50,000
waay
Thierno woowee ambulance
lan la lu xew ni
sa baay gay dee na
sa papa gay lu ko rey
$100,000 ne ko boo ma gañaloon si li ma la yónni dama ko koy jox mu daanu ni sama kaw
man waxuma ko mu waxee woon la ko noonu yow la ko waroon informé ndax yow yaa ko gañe yaa gañe jàppoon
fay lempo warugal la si képp koo xam ne doomi réew mi nga ak ñu fi dëkk bu fekkee ne ci at mi sa koom-koom weesu na $2,400 mbete weer bu nekk di nga am lu tollu si $2,000 lempo si la nguur gi di sukkandiku ngir liggéey yokkute réew mi GRA mooy banxaas bu nguuri Gambia sas ngir mu fayeku lépp luy lempo ci biir réew mi ba tax na GRA di yëgal faykati lempo yi ne warugal la pour ñu fay lu ñu naan withholding tax on contract payment maanaam maanaam bépp contrat bu waay joxe te si biir réew mi lañu toog kon xaalis si contrat bi ngeen nangotoo war nga cee wàññi ci xayma téeméer bu nekk fukka bu fekkee ne contracto bi dëkkut ci biir réew mi bu boobaa di nga war a wàññi téeméer bu nekk fukka ak juróom lii mooy lempo bu ñu naan withholding tax on contract payment lii mooy lempo bi nga xam ne yow mi joxe contrat warugal la nga wëlbatiku dem fay ko ci maakaani GRA tax office bu la gën a jege mbete ci banque yi GRA jagleel pour fay lempo war ngaa jébal lempo bi si diiri fukki fan ak juróom gannaaw bi nga wàññee ci xaalis si contrat bi amul benn contracto bu ñu teggil fay lempo bi xanaa mu fekk ne nguuri Gambia ñoo ko jégale boole si projet yi nga xam ne mbootaay ndimbali ñoo koy dépense GRA di fayeku lempo ngir yokkute réew mi.
Welcome back to part 2 of this interview. Actually, we have exhausted a lot of things during the first part of the interview, but I know we're still talking about priorities. But for Gab to be in office, for us to have President Bojang, I know that you have to do a lot of convincing as well, because I know that I have known you personally, and I know who you are, but so many Gambians don't know you. And from an experienced country, from a country like us, who we have experienced a military man ruling us, and what is manifested and is manifesting in the TRRC right now is mind-blowing. No one knew that all of this happened under a military, somebody who was a military and then became a democratically elected president. Wow. And people will say, in fact, when you were nominated and when your CV was put out there, the concerns many Gambians had was, we don't want another military. We don't care who he is. Yeah. This was what some people categorically said. Yeah. How are you going to convince me and so many other Gambians who believe that the military should just stay in the barracks and just not be in politics? Right.
Fatou, this is a very simple thing as far as I'm concerned. I'm very, very proud that I have served this country in the military. Mm-hmm. And the military that I served is the armed forces that is there to protect lives and properties of this country. And that was the armed forces that I have served. The armed forces that I have served is a disciplined institution. The armed forces that I have served is a noble cause as far as my belief is concerned. And for me to serve my country in the armed forces of the Gambia, I think is a rare opportunity. And I'm really proud to have gone through that particular institution and contributed what I could at the time. And like you said, I was even going to say, so you too, because this is what I wanted to, when you ask me this question. Yeah. Because my assumption is that you will understand better that today I don't need to go far to tell you how militaries have transformed the political dynamics in the world, especially in Africa. Mm-hmm. So for me, my message to the people is this. The fact that Yahya Jammeh was a military officer and they came through the battle of the gun, a coup d'etat, and also become a Democrat or led this country, democratically elected government. And the fact that he has, we have seen during the TRRC some of the revelation, that will not discourage me and that will not stain me. I knew very well that Yahya Jammeh, all those allegations that were reported or narrated during the TRRC were not because Yahya Jammeh was a military. They were because that was a system that was around him. It wasn't him because he's a military, and that is why that happened. And because it was a system, not an individual or his past profession, and then if you want to grade me or now classify me too as being an ex-military officer who is coming to join the political scene. So how do we reconcile?
So you just said it was a system.
It was a system.
It was a system.
It was a system that led him for us to, hear what we have heard.
And members of the system were members of the armed forces.
Including the civilians.
Yes, but mostly,
But
most of them.
But including
most of them were members of the armed forces, which you were part of. Like you were part of the armed forces.
Exactly.
So how do we differentiate this? Like we know they were good. They are very good officers in the army.
Right.
I know that they're very good officers.
Thank you very much. I'm
very
happy to hear
good officers in the Gambian National Army.
What he's trying to say is Jammeh did what he did not because he was a member of the armed forces.
Yeah.
Perhaps because that's just who he is.
Yes.
But what Fatou also is saying is that perception matters in politics.
That's correct.
Already our perception about Jammeh is that he was a military man and
Right.
we had a civilian government before him.
Right.
All of these atrocities were not happening. Now we had a former military member becoming a president, and we have all of these atrocities. So there is a linkage between him being a military man and the atrocities that happened under him.
Not only
and
that,
you have to deal with that perception.
And thank you very much for diluting the question, because that will make it easy for me
Yeah.
to be able to answer your question. And I want to stand by my first assertion that it wasn't Jammeh as an ex-military officer. That was why some of this information or allegations we had at the TRRC, it was the system that he put across around him that had assisted whatever we are hearing at the TRRC. I am also glad for you to acknowledge that the armed forces is composed of good men and women, who see only their country and the people of their country, and they will not, for a second, do anything, contrary to what their primary responsibilities are. And then, like I said, this is a system that that surrounds or put Jammeh in place. Jammeh, like I said, it's not only military.
Yeah.
It's both, because the constitution was not written by the military. It was written by experts of,
constitutional experts. Yeah.
Exactly. Okay, they are part of the system.
Yeah.
And the judiciary, they are not the military. Yeah. They are part of the system. Okay, and if you put those things together, the military is just an insignificant component of whatever had happened. It is just that some members and insignificant members of the armed forces alleged that the former president used them to have committed those heinous crimes. That is not. I'm not going to believe that is me, or that is those good officers that you are, complimenting, that are still in the armed forces. What I want to say here is that me, as a military officer in the Gambia Armed Forces, my profession dictates that I'm supposed to, take care of people who are in need, people who are in need, people who are sick, people who cannot do things for themselves. Those are the people that I used to help. And I lived that kind of belief in the armed forces until I retired. And position has not changed that perception, and no influence has changed that perception as far as I'm concerned. And I can tell you that 99.9% of members of the armed forces also uphold this belief and values. And that is why we still have good members, men and women, in the armed forces. So yes, the TRRC, we have seen some elements. These are the disgruntled, these are the bad cows. In every community you have people of those type of people. You can find them there. But what I want to say is that, the example I want to give you, if a teacher is a dictator, if a teacher becomes a dictator, does that mean that every teacher who becomes a president will become a dictator? No. A typical example is in Zimbabwe. Robert Mugabe is one of the finest sons of Africa and highly educated.
Yeah.
But if you go to Zimbabwe and mention about Robert Mugabe, they will tell you, in fact, not even a dictator, but even if there is any word that can be used, worse than a dictator. Yeah. But he was a teacher, highly educated. But he died, or he was, overthrown from the presidency as a dictator. Does that make all the teachers become intellectuals, be dictators? I am telling you, it is not an individual or your background. It is the system that you put in place that makes you a dictator. Let us get this thing, because we're going to repeat the same mistake.
Yes.
It is not Lamin Bojang, because he served in the military. So when he comes as the president of this country, we are going to go through the same thing. Those days have gone. But it depends on the system that I put around me. If I want to be praised, if I want to be told what I want to hear all the time, even if I wrong, nobody dare to come and tell me. If they close the door behind me, and then it's only you have to go through the protocol, you have to go through the security before you come to me, then that is the problem in this country. And that is the system that was there. It was not an individual. It was the system that he put in place. No, let us look at the military leaders in this country. I'm sure all of us knew the history of Botswana. Botswana is one of the finest countries. And so if you're privileged to visit there anytime, I was there on a study tour, and I've seen that country. But we also know that Botswana is one of those countries in Africa that have championed democracy, you know, very long time ago. But Harma is an ex-military officer. He has led that country to democracy. If you go to that country, they are self-sufficient. And some of their mineral resources, diamond, you know, beef, and wildlife. These are the resources that they have. But they are making good use of these resources to make their country to move where they are today. The leader that had that vision, that led that country to achieve what they have achieved today, is an ex-military officer. Okay? If you go to Ethiopia, that country is an envy of every leader in this country, before even Rwanda. But if you go to Ethiopia today, one of the cleanest cities you find in Africa is Addis Ababa, if you go there. But the leader there is not a dictator, because we have seen that he is a laureate. He's a recipient of this Nobel Prize. Okay? Has he been bullying his people? He's a military man. But Sierra Leone, the gentleman here in Sierra Leone, Madabio is where was he has a history. He has a history in Sierra Leone.
Yes.
Is it not fresh in our mind as if it happened yesterday?
Yeah.
He's a military officer.
But he's hailed now.
Exactly.
Very well.
But today, if J.J. Rowland's age will not deter him from becoming a president, if he contests to be the president in Ghana, they would have
most
voted.
likely he would have won. Yeah.
He would have won. You understand? And he's a military officer. But you know the history of J.J. Rowlands in Ghana. You understand what he has done in Ghana? Not a bit of that we have done in this country. But the problem is this: it is not the individual who is coming. It's the system that you put in place.
What is your assessment of this government?
The current government, you have to start it from where they started.
Yeah,
and that is the 2016 coalition.
Yeah.
The coalition came together. And before I even go further, I want to state that we cannot trust them. I want to say this thing, that we cannot trust the coalition members. All of them together.
Yeah.
Why am I saying this thing? Because they fail Gambian people. All of them fail us. All of them together, not only Barrow.
Yep.
Now, if you ask me my assessment so far about what Barrow has done, he has not done anything in this country that we want. In fact, he has even compounded our problem. You know, he has even, you don't want to be thinking about 3 years and 5 years. You want to lie in your house, fine, sleep well. Today we are talking about people are going to March 20th January, stuff like that. That is another problem. When they came in, there are core responsibilities of the coalition. If I will name maybe 4 or 5 of them. One will be the TRRC, the CRC,
which are all
the
on
SSR,
course.
and maybe the civil service reform.
Yeah.
These are the core responsibilities.
Yeah.
The core responsibilities. Okay? Now, it is likely that this will be exhausted within the 3 years period.
Yeah.
Okay? Now, when certain things happen in between, I mean the first 6 months of their dispensation, certain things just emerged, and they included the NDP. And the NDP was a strategy to derail this whole process. There is no way that you can, this is a transition, like as the name implies. You're not supposed to be there for doomsday. You have a responsibility that you have to fulfill.
It's to set the foundation for some of the things.
Exactly. Okay? Now, that foundation is what has been breached. That foundation could not hold. That coalition, when they disintegrate, and the disintegration, some of the excuses that they give us, or they gave us, were wrong. Now,
but Lamin, before you go further, even though the coalition teared apart, and we all know that, we all agree, but the key things that the coalition agreed on, they are on course.
So Barrow will...
No. What I mean, the transitional agenda.
Yeah.
We wanted the CRC. It's on course.
Okay.
We wanted the TRRC, it's on course.
Right.
The Commission of Inquiry,
Right.
the Security Service reforms
Right.
is on course.
Right.
The civil service reforms have started.
Right.
This is just the things that the government was supposed to do.
Right.
Nothing else.
It's not just about doing them.
We were not looking
it's
at
about the results. The results.
What I'm saying is, but what I'm saying is, what I'm saying.
We had one, the Jana Commission.
But at
What
least
is the outcome?
At least Nima, it has started. What I'm saying is, this was the agenda of the coalition, right? To have the structures like the CRC, very, very important. To have a good new constitution where we will not have one person, one president getting all these powers and all the stuff, which is on course.
TRRC.
Before the TRRC, the Jana Commission, even though I don't agree with the government white paper, I think is a waste of taxpayer money, that I have said openly, but at least we have known the level of mismanagement and what had happened. We wish the government had implemented what the recommendations were. The TRRC is on course. We're getting the revelations as to what happened. I'm just saying the agenda of the coalition government is on course.
Okay. But you're missing a point here. It's not just about having a TRRC or the CRRCs. It's the rationale behind having those things.
Yeah.
Why do we need to have a TRRC in place or a CRC in place or the other reforms that needs to take place? Is that moving forward, we are going to charter a new way for this country so that all those things that have happened in the past will not happen again.
Yeah.
Now, what do we have? You have these things happening. In parallel to that, you have a government that is continuing on a track that is so reminiscent of what used to happen in the past. So it doesn't make sense if you look at it that way.
And just to buttress this point, there is a time frame. You know, let us stop the politics of deception. Don't tell me that the 3 years is the tactics. That is not the tactics. If you have a tactics, you have to be able to achieve the objective. And the objective is just to make sure that we now have, for instance, after the 3 years, we go in for election and Barrow hands over to whosoever. These were some of the agreements, right? Now, like she alluded to, and I agreed, the results were not there. Now, the TRRC is haphazardly done, and we have seen what is happening. Gambians were not prepared. Gambians were not, like, if somebody should come and tell you that, yes, I did this, that, I did that, okay, I killed so-and-so, I killed so-and-so. Gambians were not prepared for that person to go scot-free. We want to see that justice is done.
Yeah.
But TRRC, exonerated most of those people from those crimes. The results were in place. Gambians were not expected to see that. Now, you said the security sector reform. These were supposed to be done within the 3 years period. All of them were supposed to be done. You know, you asked me about the assessment. I am telling you that they have failed us because they could not stick to the promises. And you see, I come back to the same thing, the leadership crisis. You understand? What makes it even worse is that within the first 6 months, if this coalition knew, because they should have made their assessment, if they knew that this full responsibility will not be able to implement them within the time frame that is given to them, they could have come back to the Gambian people and asked them or talk to us that, look, we have A, B, C, D that we will not be able to exhaust within this time frame. But no, fact, that did not happen. The man went on stage to tell people that, look, I am the president of this country and nobody can move me from here. I'll be here for 5 years. Nobody will talk to Gambians like that. That is what we are saying. Those are some of the kind of leadership vacuum that we have in this country.
To his defense, though, the Constitution gives him 5 years mandate.
No, but talk to us. We are human beings.
Yeah.
We do not own us. You understand? Yeah,
I knew you will comment there.
Yeah, talk to us, okay? And then the other thing is this. Now, when they disintegrated along the line, that in itself is a failure. What was the result of their disintegration? They alleged that the MOU was not signed. Leaders are not supposed to just start a journey, but they're supposed to also enjoy. You cannot just start a particular journey. You have to enjoy it until the end. And these people who have not reached the end, and they have all collapsed. So you want to give them the Gambia for 5 years again? It's going to be even worse. Barrow Barrow, I'm telling you, he has failed Gambians in many, many aspects. 6 months of his leadership, he spent $4 million US. If you spend $4 million US for us to mechanize our agriculture, or for us to build this farm that I'm talking about, or for us to overhaul the RVTH, we would have equipped that hospital to the best hospital in the sub-region. But what did he say? That is just a token. $200 million is. In his entire life, he has never seen that kind of money. So if you come, you told us that, they told us during the commission, Janet Commission, that Yaya has wrecked our economy.
Yeah.
He has looted our coffers. Okay? And we don't have money to sponsor. There is only 1 month salary or 1 month whatever to hold the government. But we realized after 6 months that that is not true. Because where did they get that 4 million? The $4 million US dollars that they spent on traveling.
But they had a lot of goodwill coming though. Because all the funding that were held were released.
So now today, we're having problem at the hospital. Fatou, you know, don't fool Gambians. Our health system is kaput. It has failed. Now, if that is the reality, right? Now, because we want a visionary leader. We thought this man is a visionary leader, that he will sympathize with Gambian people. And if a leader does not empathize with people, you don't sympathize with them, well, you are a default, leader by default. We thought that we have the best replacement for the former regime. But when he came in, he swayed from the realities, because the words that are coming from him were not diplomatic, not presidential at all. If my father in the same house with me feels that his security cannot be guaranteed by us, all of us in the same house, and he seeks his security from the neighbor, what would be the position of the rest of the household? Of course, we will take matters into our own hands. Not so. And that is what is happening in this country. The President of the Republic of the Gambia, who every occasion will say, I'm the Commander-in-Chief of the Gambia Armed Forces. Which Commander-in-Chief? Of the Senegalese army?
No, he's the commander, but he is the commander of the armed forces.
Just allow me.
He is the commander of the armed forces.
No, Commander-in-Chief of an armed forces, Commander-in-Chief of a security forces that you don't even trust. Until today, 3 years down the line, Barrow still is protected by foreigners. This was the recipe for 1994 coup d'etat. I do not subscribe to coup d'etat. And I condemn coup d'etat to the fullest. I never encourage any soldier or officer to indulge in coup d'etat. But the problem is this: how can our head of state, the Gambia...
But you just confirm that the security sector reform is still on course, it's not finished, it's not ready.
No, the security sector reform...
So how can we trust the army to give them...
Because the thing,
how can we trust them fully if we are not yet ready with the security service?
I'm telling you...
I mean, to be honest also, because we are dealing with a lot of... I know I'm not an intelligent officer, but I know that, you know, when Jammeh left, there were so many intelligent reports that said there were people...
It was deliberately calculated. That was a deliberate calculation for him to fear the armed forces or the securities. Look, there are a lot of things about that, but I'm trying to just highlight some of the shortcomings of the current president. What I'm telling you is that some of the insecurities that we're facing in this country is because of him. Leadership is by example, and it has no substitute. This is the reality. Barrow, what happens is this: if he feels that he does not feel secured with our own security, who are you to feel secured with our own people? So now, the security officers, men and women in uniform, immigration, police, army, or whatever, they are all demoralized. And they're not supposed to be demoralized. So that is one of it. Another thing is that the current dispensation you are asking me, the president stood in front of a political platform. They said they built 10 hotels in this country. He built 100,002 classrooms in this country. They constructed 500 schools in this country. If you take 500 schools in this country, including the private schools, I don't think you'll have more than what he is. So that means he has fenced all, because all the schools in Brufut are all fenced, not during his time. So you see, the politics of deception is continuing. We cannot see that. We are the young people of this country. We have a responsibility to hold our. I don't tell anybody to go and ask him to, because leadership is all about integrity. That moral principles, that honesty, if we compromised it, then that means the leader is not a leader. He is there serving his own interests. And that is what is happening to us now. It is affecting us as young people, because if you go to Senegal, there are 1,001 young people who are rich and they are going about their businesses. They are involved. They are supported by their government. They are doing their stuff, and that is why most time we say, Senegal is this, or Gambia, we are like. No, the Gambia is mortgaged to other countries. And our young people are here. they can do that. These are some of the shortcomings. You ask me about the assessment of the current government.
You're still on the assessment.
Assessment, yes. These are some of the problems that we have with the current government.
Yeah.
You know, he's not leading us. Okay, Gambia, what we need is we don't want somebody to stand in front of us, start threatening us. You understand? We want our leader, you know, to be somebody who is. This country is very dirty now. You know, what are they doing about the environment? You know, so these are some of the problems that we see at Gambia Action Party, and we believe that we betrayed. The betrayal is that government people, like, look, you said you are going to go after 3 years, not when you are even, you know, looking for, not only during his election time, but even after he was even sworn in.
Yeah.
He said he was going to be there for 3 years. And after 3 years, he said today now he has
I
already...
believe he was going to be there for 3 years. The dynamics changed.
The
dynamics did not change. Most likely, he would have been there for 3 years.
What changed? What dynamics?
What dynamics?
Number one, the coalition went kaput.
Okay.
You are being told you have 5 years mandate. Your people that you all decided and say we'll do 3 years. This one went this way. I don't want opposition. This I might be sacked. So then I go with the constitution.
Yeah, so now that is where the problem.
That's the thing I don't
It's not fair enough, but then I can go with the constitution, because if I'm told I have a 5 years mandate, my other partners are like, okay, I don't even want a position in the government. As you said at the beginning, at every point, collectively, they were all responsible for it. So then I would go with the constitution, which is the highest law of the...
But what did
and promise does not violate the constitution.
No,
so
but hold me responsible.
What do you mean?
Actually,
I go with the constitution.
I've been having this question, and I had people argue about it, and I sit in places where people talked about it. I didn't have an answer, and I actually want to be educated. I want to understand. For me, my understanding of a transition government, is it not when there is, let's say, a coup d'etat, or when there is a crisis in a country, then they bring in people and say, you are the transition until we sort out what's happening. When somebody is voted in, yes, we can say we're having a transition from dictatorship to democracy. But does it mean it's a transitional government? Because a transitional government, to my understanding of it, is when there is crisis. Even when you look at Sudan, for example, when they had the uprising, they brought in a transitional government. When they had other people, so those people are usually even either from civilians or the military, but they come and they say, you'll be here for this period whilst we sort out ourselves. But I have never seen anywhere where somebody has been voted for and it's a transition government. Yes, we are into a transition period, but is it a transition government? That is something that I have sat in places where people argue, and I really want to understand. Is it a transition period we're in, but not necessarily a transition government? Because a transition government is not voted for. They are selected or elected.
Why do we call it a transition? It's because we're moving from one point to another point that are different. That space there is a transition.
Yes, so it's a
whoever is serving that space now becomes a transitional government.
But the problem there
that's
is,
what I'm saying. The situations can be different.
No, that's what.
No, but I understand what you're saying.
Okay.
The situations can be different. Say, for example, we have a 5-year term, and a government is being toppled after 3 years, and then a new person has been picked to say, serve the remainder.
Have been picked, not elected. That's the question I have.
I'm coming there. Serve the remainder of the 2 years, and that becomes transitional. So you are leading us to the next election.
Yes.
That's one situation. This other situation that we have a dictatorship that we have tried to bring down for so many years we couldn't. We as a coalition, of opposition parties come together. We picked one individual. We say, you are going to run on an independent ticket. And your role would be that when we defeat this person, you are going to lead us from dictatorship to democracy.
Right there.
And that's going to be transitional.
Yes.
Therefore,
that's why they came up with an agreement to say a normal government should be 5 years.
Exactly.
But we want you
these
to
are
lead
a group of people. This wasn't necessarily the whole of Gambia, though.
No, you know why it becomes
I'm trying
the
to
whole of the
understand, because
you
this
know
is
why
an argument I have heard on so many places, and it's not.
But then the argument
is
also.
It's just like right now, myself, you, Fatou, and Lamin, we can form a coalition and challenge Barrow. If we win, it doesn't mean it's a transitional
no,
government.
but it means what
and it doesn't mean it because
it's not even about the
coalition was
transition.
people
It's
coming
about
together
the agenda.
on their choice.
When you
it was
go,
a personal choice for them to form a coalition. It wasn't like the Gambian people, even though the Gambian people supported the agenda, but we had people as well who voted for APRC. We had people who voted for GDC. So it wasn't like we are in crisis and we said Jammeh out. You people come sit as transition. If you understand what I'm trying to say,
Very
I think
well,
that
I
is
do.
transition.
Yeah,
so this is a transition period, but it's not a transition.
With a transitional government.
It's not a transitional
How is it a
government?
transition
Maybe
period if you're not
let's
gonna
hear
have
him
a
answer that.
I came to the people and said, when we get voted, we will only serve for 3 years. That was a promise.
Yes.
And here,
it was not just a promise.
Yeah.
It goes, you know where the people come into play
I
now.
understand.
It's
To
the
people
coalition,
that
the entire
people that
coalition.
got what they said to them. We also have to understand there's another more voters that actually did not even buy to that. Because if you put in what Jammeh had and what Mama Kande had, we had more people not buying to the coalition agenda than people that even bought it. So
that's why you have the 3 years job now and you have the 5 years. The 3 years have a legitimate cause to
which
say.
is them and Barrow, this is what you told us.
Can
and then we have other people
Yeah,
who,
go ahead.
so I don't know.
Can I come in here? I think I think what we need to make clear is there is a coalition agenda, right? But there is also a platform that has been sold to the people. This is why the people come in now.
The ones that bought it. We have to understand the others that did not buy it.
But the ones who bought it, the ones who bought it,
those people.
the ones who bought it are the ones who are responsible for making this government. It's not the ones who didn't buy it and vote.
That's true.
It is not the people who voted for Mama Kande. It is not the people who vote for APRC. The people who vote for Barrow are the people who made this government.
Yes.
Although the government is representative of everyone.
Yes.
So if there is going to be anyone who is going to hold Barrow accountable, it's everybody, but more so the people who voted for him.
Yes.
You understand my
People
point?
who voted for
So,
him were
I
even
don't-
less
I don't
than
care.
The people who did not vote for him, in terms of our population, the voting rights, they are more than the ones that voted for him. But we just have to remember we had 3 candidates.
Yeah, but we will be right.
the
We'll be
process,
right
I just need to understand
we will be right in these circumstances to say that this is a transition government. Why would we be right? Because the transition government did not come from sky. Agreements were made. Agreements were made. Concrete agreements were made, and these were even written down. Even though claims that
let's say it was signed.
Exactly. Let's say it was signed.
Yes.
It is a transition period, like what you have just outlined. It is right so that when you have crisis, but in our case we do not have crisis. But also, if you have followed,
We had a crisis.
yes.
We had a crisis.
Okay, let's call it a crisis. Okay,
We had a crisis.
okay, we had a
It
crisis.
was a crisis.
But it was not as a result of those crises or that crisis. That's
that we
why
elected
we had a
him. No.
because
Yes.
the coalition, because there was
He was
there was a need for them to come together for to be able to
Win, just to win elections.
Exactly.
pretty much.
So in that case, we will say that the coalition, they came up with agreements. The agreement is not only 3 years. Okay, they have host of agreements that he's supposed to agree. Okay. Now in that case, the 3 years, the 3 years mandate, if Barrow did not agree to resign to stand as an independent candidate, he wouldn't have been the president of this country. That is one.
Yes.
If Barrow did not agree to the 3 years, then he wouldn't have been the president of the republic. If he did not agree that after 3 years you were going to oversee an election and you hand over to the next president, he wouldn't have been elected as the president of the country. If Barrow did not agree for these TRRC, CRC, and those kind of reforms, they wouldn't have accepted him to be their flag bearer.
For coalition,
For
but
the-
not
for-
necessarily the
for-
president.
for the-
because he could have agreed to all of
No.
this and still lost.
No, yeah, exactly. But
so let's talk about the coalition.
That's what I'm saying. The coalition. He wouldn't have been the president because he was representing the coalition on an independent ticket. Now that independent ticket, people believe that it was a tactics for to sell to the Gambian people. We believe that wasn't tactics. That is where the failure began. It was a deception. They deceived us that Barrow will be there for 3 years, and they campaigned the length and breadth throughout their campaign is that we will be there for 3 years, and after 3 years we will do ABCD, and it never happened that way, and they failed us. Now the people that failed us was not only Barrow, but the entire coalition members, and these are the people that we are saying that we cannot trust them anymore. We cannot trust them anymore, simply because they have set a precedence that has plunged Gambia into the chaos in which we are today. So yes, you can call it a coalition government, or a transition government, because a coalition government has created a transition period. Yes. And that transition period is going to be governed. That transition period is going to be governed and is going to be led by a president, and is going to form a government. And that government, although it is the mandate that is given to him, according to, yes, is constitutional wise, is 5 years. But according to their agreement, is 3 years. And he has to honor that one. Because these are the type of people that we want in our country. We want people that will respect what they say. We don't want people, because we have seen it now, that throughout the whole campaign, because Barrow said that during campaign you can stand and say anything. Is that the type of president we want in this country? These are some of the things that we feel, you know, are an insult to the integrity of Gambian people. You know, our leaders must have that moral principles. They must be honest to us. And this is why I conclude that, you know, Barrow's administration is from one problem to another. You know, right now, I just want to highlight another big conflict that we have in this country is between two religious groups, the Radatul Majlis and then the Supreme Islamic Council. We are underrating these kind of problems. These are the things that can flare into full-fledged, you know, misunderstanding and lead the country. We know what we are made of. You know, this country has a very large Muslim population, and right now people are divided between these two groups, and it's scaring. It is scaring simply because each is showing, you know, the people are showing their loyalty to each of these groups, and this is a problem. But the security in this country, it lies in the hands of the president and the leader of this country. But that is not being taken care of. A typical example is this. Let's look at the police. The police are supposed to, what type of policing are we doing? Preventive or intervention? We intervene. When crime happens, we rush. Sometimes we call to come and help us. Sometimes fuel is not there. Is it the fault of the police? No. What happened is that, let's look at the police, for instance. The Minister of Interior moved from Banjul to another complex here, okay? Because the excuses that they gave was that at their previous premises, that place is not conducive for a ministry to be harbored there, okay? So they're looking for a more conducive place for them to do their job. That is more important than buying a taser, a baton, a whistle, a pistol, and a rider or a bicycle for a police officer. Because let us look at the police officer, what they do in this country. They do not have the equipment. They do not have the training. How can we be secure? The people in downtown Bundu, or maybe people in this area, if at night time they see police officers with all these gadgets around them, they'll feel comfortable. Our police officers are not supposed to be an interventory, they weren't supposed to be there just to intervene when crimes commit, but they must be there also to prevent crimes. So their presence alone is very, very important. But look at the police as if our police officers are employed just only for the traffic. These are some of the problems. Number two, the security of this country. Somebody told me, if you come, tell people that we have to make sure that we police the traffic. How can we police the traffic? How do you expect the police officers to be everywhere in this country? That is not possible. The police officers have a limitation, and their limitations is caused by the lack of trust and confidence and support from the government. The police officers, for instance, that are in the traffic, why can't we have security cameras today in the traffic? But Fatou, if I use your car here today and I go through a police checkpoint, they will tell me, was that vehicle stolen? Nobody will know. And these are some of the problems that we have in this country. There is a system that we can put in place that will take care of all these things. Car thefts maybe are new things in this country, but they can, because of the kind of, increase of vehicles in this country, car thefts is going to be a problem. But how are we going to deal with that kind of challenge is another problem. If you look at the immigration, for instance, our ID cards, our birth certificates, our passports, and other legal documents of this country. I know of a company called Damalog. Senegal is using the same thing. Guinea-Bissau is using the same thing. Guinea-Conakry is using the same thing. We just neighbor to Senegal. Why can't we use the same thing? Damalog has offered Gambia government 5 million euros for them to give them that contract to produce our birth certificate, our passports, our ID cards, and there is a third pass with the voters card. And they're going to give us 5 million euros. 5 million euros. I have the copy of that document.
But what are they getting out of
but
that?
They are what are they getting out of?
These are the ways they entice.
What they are getting out of it is just to make sure that our country is secure. They are going to transfer the knowledge and skills and the equipment.
Just
to the
like
Gambia.
that.
Just that.
And they're still paying to get that contract.
And these are some of the things
How
that
are they surviving?
That is not.
How are they sustaining their business?
Sorry?
If you're paying a government,
These are our partners in development. They want to help the Gambia government to be able to have a system in place that will be able to police our borders, especially airport and our borders.
Fair enough.
And these are some of the things that we are losing. Another revenues that we are losing as far as immigration is concerned is that our kids in this country, our babies, when they are born in the hospital, the time that they get passport is at age 18. That is what is our losses. Are we not losing revenues?
No, wait. If you're born in the country, as like to Gambian parents, you mean, or to non-Gambian parents?
When do you get your passport?
Because my daughter is 4 years old and she has a passport from when she was 1. It's just when you need it.
Is our national document not mandatory that everybody has?
No. Passport is not mandatory even in the UK, for example.
No, but for us in the country, it is another area where we can generate income.
But if I don't need a passport, if I would never travel, why would I go and pay for a passport?
What I'm trying to say is that because it is becoming a problem. Sometimes you apply for passports. Yeah. Passports are not available. Okay, you have to be on the queue for a very long time. You apply for certain documents, they are not there. And they are
that
not
was
available.
when the government came early, but now everything.
And even now
you go to immigration.
No, the passports that are not available. The passports that are not available. It's not the biometric.
No,
it's the old ones with the books because
this
they're trying
is a tax-based economy, right?
Yeah, but if I don't need a passport, I wouldn't. If my daughter didn't need a passport, I would not see the point in applying for a passport.
But you need. These are some of the national documents that we need to have.
But
there is a need for us to have our national documents.
Fair enough, but we're talking about people surviving.
Yeah.
You're talking about somebody buying a bag of rice. Why? Yeah. I'm not thinking. I can go to Senegal. Mostly, that's the farthest I can go with my ID card. Why do I need to get a passport?
No, but these are national documents.
I agree. But even if you go to developed countries like the UK, you see people who are.
But the UK has a system. The UK has a system that we can also implement here.
Which is
in terms of regulating their immigration. Can we do that here?
Yeah, but I'm talking about passport.
No, but what I'm saying is, can we do that here? Because that passport is not relevant for them. It's not relevant.
Yeah. Because we are running out of time.
Thank you.
We get a birth certificate first.
It's been an interesting interview, and I think a lot of people will really
have to come back
inside who Lamin is. And before we go, only 40 program.
Lamin, I have to ask you this one. You know when you came out with the photo shoot, the nice haftan, the suit and everything, all suited and booted. You had a lot of followers. How many madam feel na feel na mabala but am nga ay jabar yo xamne mom sey nga ñom Facebook ba paré sax té yeguloko. Why how are you managing the fame? But fu ne ni mom mashallah ale jigen yang la wor té how man yang la wor nak. But madam nga balal ma why how are you managing the fame that's coming with all?
Yeah, it does not have to because it's for a purpose. Let me direct that towards our objective. Okay. If it is a personal thing, I will not subscribe to that. But I'm sure if I did not come to this area, maybe most people would not know me. So what I'm doing right now is just to direct that. I know I'm having issues, because a lot of people will approach me, and it's difficult for me to convince, because even I'm open to all. And I want to make sure that my contacts are available to everybody. But I know certain people will take me to some path, and I will try to redirect them. And no, I have never heard of your party. So I'm selling my party in a very polite way. And I know, yes, I'm trying to make sure that positively, I direct that energy towards the party's objective. Yes.
My final question is, just yesterday we learned that one party has been registered, and that made 3 just in 1 week. So there are so many parties registering, and we are foreseeing that many other parties will come up. Where does that leave gap, and what is your impression about this new development?
We are very proud. The thing is that the gains that we have made recently is just amazing, very, very amazing, and that is what most political parties would also like. We have been approached by some politicians in this country, and alhamdulillah, we have the support of some politicians who are ready to be part of our group. you know, and that is applause.
So
okay?
you are going to form alliance?
No, not alliance. This is the kind of modalities that
you are absorbing.
Exactly, we are absorbing some members of other political parties, and we're not scared to go alone. We're not worried to go alone because we believe in our strategies. We believe in the homework that we're doing, and the type of strategies we're doing is going to pay dividends at the end of the day. So yes, there are a lot of political parties coming in. But yeah, you can ask yourself, some of them, what do they forget at the State House that they want to go for? You know, so these are some of the things that we do not worry about. Okay. We know very well that the young people will listen to us, and we are communicating effectively.
Have you run out of cash power? Do you want to transfer funds to your family? Or do you want salary advance without coming to the bank? Your banking services have just been brought to you on your mobile phone. Download and install from your App Store or Google Play Trust Bank's mobile app. Simply search for TBL mobile app and follow the instructions. You can access the following services: funds transfer, cash power purchase, forex rates enquiries, mobile airtime top-up, mini statement, balance enquiry. TBL app is the only app that allows you to take salary advance and many more. You can also interact with your customers using our USSD code by dialing *533#. At Trust Bank, we bring innovation that is useful to you, our valued customer. With our mobile app and USSD, banking is at your fingertips. Trust Bank Limited, proudly Gambian.
Better and stronger as the sole ground operator at the Banjul International Airport. With an expansion in travel services, customers are assured of GIA's capacity to cater for all their travel needs, provided by professional, experienced, and ever-smiling staff. GIA's Hajj package and services, by far the best in the country, give the customers the opportunity for a memorable Hajj experience. For a more efficient cargo services, GIA means business as it launches its new multi-million-dollar ultra-modern cargo complex to revitalize and stimulate air transport. GIA, the pride of the Gambia.
Why did it? Why? I warula nak ay xam naa ne bu paree rek ma kontaan.
Sama secret mooy ami tamaate jeeg balaa jonge day mun waañam ami tamaate soo ko defee si sa tooga da koy xonqal cuur jeeg bu koy jëfandikoo sa jëkkër du la musa mere.
Nijaay.
Waaw.
baala ma tey dama naa gis añ bi.
Chéri xiif naa de.
waaye léegi ma pare topp suma lii bi maa ngi dem yegg kaay. waaw topp suma gannaaw.
loolu de laa bëgg a dégg.
Faro Company mi ñu indil bébé Mariam moo ñu indil ami tamaate.
Chéri sa benn cin xonq na.
ami tamaate de moo si jaar.
ami tamaate.
waaw ami tamaate.
moo ko xonqal nii. cëm.
waaw
bis ni ki tey. waaw dee naa la ami tamaate.
doomi ndey ami tamaate bi nag léegi ku ko bëgg nag nooy def nag nga koy am bépp marché boo dugga bitik supermarket table yi bépp foo dugga si biir réew mi di nga am ami tamaate.
cey kër gi nag xam ngeen ko di boutique buñ leen indil fii ci réew mi mu nekk fan ca poori Palmarima dama ne jëkkër ak jabar ànd ak seen doom ba dugg ca biir jënd ba baax waaye looy foog ne dafa seer déedéet kër gaa ngi nii kër gi moom lu baax rek la leen amal loo soxla rek am na ci biir kër gi néeg waañ yëpp am na ci biir kër gi cabinet yëpp am na ci kër gi waay kër gi daal boo duggee ca biir lu waral ree bi ree ji lu ko waral yomb gaa waral ree gi dafa yomb loolu moo tax ngay ree kër gaa ngi nii dara seero fi Beko di brand boo xam ne indi lañ leen ko fii ci réewi Gambia kana ko indi kër gi waaye itamit pour dem ci office rek ñu kóot la ba nga ne nekk tay la ba nga ne nag office furniture dañu am design boo xam ne dañ la koy defal ba mu mit nag sa corporate image brand dama ne kër gi daal moo ëpp lépp kër gi daal moo am lépp kër gi daal lépp loo soxla moo lu waral ree ji yomb jee tax ngay ree du waxoon naa la ko fii dara seeru fi yaa ngi dem ba baay di nga dellu si waat kër gi di nga dellu si waat ci kër gi.
Finally, I know the President's Party and PPP, they have a similar color like yours.
Right.
Is there anything that is concerning for you, for your party?
Yeah, exactly. We've noticed that, and we've even petitioned the IEC, the custodian of the rules of the election in this country. We have realized that one of the parties, the color that is recommended or that was given to them, is almost our color. So in order to diffuse that tension, we have written to IEC, and we have not received any reply from them, but I'm sure amicably they will resolve the problem, because our color is silver, and the closest to silver is what we use in. It's a gray color, and we are aware that they gave that color to another party. And then we suffered a lot to be able to have that color. We went forward and back to make sure that we give a color that is unique. But to our greatest dismay, we saw that that color was also given to another political party.
No, you were given
NPP
silver.
to be precise.
They,
I don't know why
they said dark grey.
You're going around.
Actually,
it.
coming to
NPP,
think of it,
right?
NPP is dark grey,
NPP
and you guys
is,
are silver. So I think the argument could be, we gave you silver, you decide to use grey because you can't find silver.
No, they will give you two colors.
So
they will give you two colors.
You get two colors mandatory,
yes.
like
yes.
two.
Yes.
So you guys have silver and grey?
Yes.
Well, NPP had dark grey.
Dark grey and grey is grey.
Yeah, but
you know, but yeah. So that's our argument. That's our argument. Yeah, that's our argument. Our problem here is that we just want to make sure that colors are not an issue here. Okay, and there is a regulatory body.
You should be happy because NPP have incumbents.
What is NPP?
So people can
National People's Party.
they are the incumbent. If you have close colors, you can steal some of their voters because
Yeah, but the thing is that
maybe they're afraid that the voters might be colorblind, and because they already know the grey from the coalition and say, oh, grey.
No, we knew how much we have struggled to. We knew how much we have struggled to have that color. So for somebody to come and hijack that color from us is not. We already have printed that color. We have our names and our everything on them. So for that color to be allocated to another group, NPP or whatever you call them, it does not go well with us. So that's why we petition them for them to look into it.
Thank you very much, Lamin. Yeah. Thank you, Oli. Thank you, Numa. And finally, your message to Gambians.
Yeah, I want to thank you, Fatou, for this opportunity. And we at the Gambia Action Party, this is a party that belongs to the Gambian people. We are here for Gambia and for Gambian people. We want to make sure that you give us the opportunity, the chance for us to lead the country. Because when we lead the country, we are going to help this country to move forward by ensuring that we invest in our young people, but also making sure that we connect our young people, because it is a global world. We have to make sure that we make them creative. Our young people have to be self-reliant, and government is going to make sure that we invest and trust our people. We want to also tell the Gambian people that Gambia Action Party is the substitute, leadership substitute for 2021 election. We want to fill that vacuum, and we will fill it adequately for the Gambia and for the Gambian people.
Thank you very much, Lamin, Numa, and to the entire production team. Thank you very much. Until we come next week, good night to you all. Bye-bye. See you.